don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 292nd episode of the Political Spotlight. I'm your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey, and producer Kate, as always, is at the controls, working everything out wonderfully, like always. I welcome you all, and am thankful that you are here. We are gracious hosts, and we love to talk with you in the evenings and welcome you here for those talks. We know that you could be literally any place else, and we are thankful that you are here watching this either in real time or via replay at your convenience. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. Before we get there, of course, I want you to do just those little housekeeping things that you know you need to do, whether you're on YouTube or you're on Facebook or X or wherever you are. Share the show, hit it up, comment about it, talk, do whatever you can there. Obviously, if you're in YouTube, we want to hear from you. If you're on Facebook, we want to hear from you. This is a very interactive show. And tonight, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, specifically for the people from Muncie, I think these are going to be shows that I really would like to see some good comments back and forth, what you think about all of this and everything going on. It's going to be really interesting. We've really got a big show planned for you for the next several shows. This episode 292, episode 293, 294. 294 is going to be crazy. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. And then, of course, 295 on Friday. So that's fantastic. If you could click the bell, give us a like, we'd very much appreciate that. But above all else, share the show with everyone you know. That's what helps us out. Ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing this live broadcast to you. If you are watching live, we are bringing it to you on Tuesday, the 24th of September, 2024. And I can absolutely let you know that after sending out a couple different emails to the council yesterday, we do continue on the tradition that has been in place for the last 267 days, 66 days, today marking the 267th day, that at-large Muncie City Councilor Dale Basham has refused to answer a question of mine. They have absolutely refused to get back with me, and he will not do it. So 267 days, and whatever. It is what it is. We're going to continue marking it so that way when it's time to campaign against him, we can say, look, we have factual proof that this gentleman has sit his little happy ass up there in his perch and refused to talk to citizens because we might have different points of view, really, really, really rather sad. So Tuesday, the 24th September, 267 days with no communications. It's ridiculous. While we are in this little housekeeping measure here, while we're waiting for a few other people to come in and get seated, I do want to let you know that we are also 24 days away from the election. There's my dyslexia kicking in. It feels like 24. It feels like it's tomorrow, and at the same time, it feels like it's 100 years away. It's 42 days, rather. Sorry. 42 days away from the election. It's on the screen. I don't know how I got that wrong. Dyslexia is a son of a bitch, I guess. I don't have that, I guess, or maybe I've just never been diagnosed. I guess maybe I do. 42 days away from the election that we are all concerned about and talking about. So there is that. While we also talk about that, now we don't have any really cutesy, neat little graphics to put up, but we are also 13 days away from the end of voters registration. So that's what's happening. You have 13 days left to register to vote. You can see at the bottom of the screen, it's floating along the bottom there. Kate's on it. www.indianavoters.com. 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 That's Indiana Voters with an S at the end of voters. INDIANAVOTERS.com. It will take you 3 minutes to register. It will take you even less time than that to check your registration. I highly recommend anybody to just check it. Once a year, check it. No big deal. I would definitely recommend you getting on there, making sure, specifically if you've gotten married, if you're a woman and you got divorced, if you're a man and you changed your name, if you've done anything like that, if you've moved, I would highly recommend getting on and checking that. If you are not from Indiana, I don't know what the situation is in your state, but all you have to do is Google that. If you need help with that specifically and you want us to help you, get a hold of me, say something here on the program, send me a Facebook message, send me a message or something on Twitter, on Facebook, email me, do something like that. We will help you if we need to help you that way. But for those in Indiana, you only have 13 more days, and that is something that we all need to be doing. Okay, so with that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, we've got we have got an absolute crazy program in store for you all this evening or this morning, wherever you are in the world with this. We have a big show. It's been a busy, busy day. It's going to be a busy, busy next couple of days. Before we break into the meat of this show, I do want to give a little teaser for a show later in the week. Basically, tonight, tomorrow, and Friday are all going to be very similar shows that focus on what's going on in these specific budget meetings, what is happening, particularly in there, different thoughts, and obviously other things along the way. Tonight, Wednesday, and Friday, so that's episode 292, episode 293, and 295. We will have a break in there. And this is where I'm going to give a big teaser for the Thursday show. Tonight's show, Wednesday, and Friday are all very important and worth a watch. However, ladies and gentlemen, if you live, work, play, and or vote in Muncie and Delaware County, and specifically if you're interested in what goes on and the corruption, if you're interested in the dirt, if you're interested in really getting down, and if you like the hard facts right in your face, ladies and gentlemen, I started off preparing for tonight's show stating that we were going to be talking about two things only. We're going to be talking about the Delaware County Council meeting that occurred this morning at 9 a.m., Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., Delaware County Council meeting. We're going to break it apart and look at it. There are only two main points of that meeting that we're going to focus on. It was really quick. And then I'm going to talk about just a couple of other points. The main part of tonight's show is going to be the Muncie City Council Finance Committee meeting. We're going to be talking about that. But I also said that I had some big news for everybody. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now. I went up to City Hall today and I picked up 2 record requests that were done. They have completed for me. And I want to show you those record requests now. Here are those records that I picked up from City Hall. Okay. This that you're looking at here, ladies and gentlemen, is just under an entire ream of paper. And so you guys understand what we're going to be doing here at the Political Spotlight over the next couple of days. A few of these, okay, count them, this many right here. These are credit card statements. And they're the credit card statements for, I think, a 6-month period for like 4 or 5 different city employees. Pretty big time city employees and elected officials. Like, for example, the mayor, the police chief, Dustin Clark. I'm going to be looking for something very specific in here. And we're going to be talking about this on Thursday. And I can tell you, watch it live, watch it later, whatever. Do not miss when we talk about these records. All right. This is going to be an interesting little look. And I can tell you, I've had so much going on today. I've just briefly had a chance to just kind of stick my thumb in it, flip back and look. And even in the very small cursory look at this, I can tell you it's some pretty crazy stuff in here. So you're not going to want to miss that. This is going to be Thursday. That's only half the show Thursday. After I blow your mind with that, we are then going to get into this hunk of public records. And this is almost crazier than those records. This, ladies and gentlemen, are all emails. These are emails. And I'll be honest, when I picked these up, I didn't know what these were. I didn't even remember what I had requested. And so I was trying to take a look at it. And in doing just, again, another quick cursory view of these records here. And hold on, keep it there, because I'm going to show him the other stack of paper. Hold on. So here's half of it, and then here's the other half. Here are the credit card statements And for those of you that don't know what we're doing, Kate's showing Niles down in the bottom at the control panel. So here's the credit card, and here are the emails. And for those of you that are like, what is this? Is this email for the last 10 years? No, ladies and gentlemen, these are emails pertaining to, at least from what it looks like, the Ridenour administration attempting to plan. Does anybody want to take a stab at what this is? Matter of fact, before I say it, before we get into it, take a stab at what you think this is. Take a stab at what you think this is. This is the Ridenour administration attempting to plan what? Somebody want to say it? Cover up. This is the W-2s. She sent me the W-2s by mistake. I'm the data breach. Ta-da! No, it's more ridiculous than that. It's more ridiculous than that. This, ladies and gentlemen, is, from what it looks like, in a very, you know what, Joe Black, that's a really good guess. The crisis center, no, and not even the Dustin Clark payroll. Those are really good guesses. But this is what, to me, I think is more maddening. This is the Ridenour administration attempting to plan Camp Ridenour. The trip that Alva, my God, he answered that before I said it. I guarantee you he did. Alva, I'm telling you, I wish, Alva, I would give anything. If you lived up here, you would be a part of this program. Your face would be on the program with Kate, Brandon, and I. You are probably more tuned into what goes on here than I am. This is the Ridenour administration's planning of that trip where they, I mean, you know, and from what I've seen in here, it's crazy. And let me tell you, you are part of the program. I mean, you are, bro. You are, absolutely. Absolutely. Shame on me for what I said. You absolutely are. I mean, like, you would be running this ship, is what I mean. You're like, just like, you know, helping.
Damn it, Alva, you're going to move up here and take my job and all that, you know, that fat paycheck I get every week.
Right.
Shit.
Yeah. Kate's so good, sometimes I pay her twice in a lifetime. And I'll let her know when it happens. No. And let me tell you, and this is just a teaser because I don't even know what it is. One of the emails in here is from Dan Ridenour, and the 2 is Lover 1. Now, I don't know what that is, and I can't wait to find out. I'm going to start going through this after the show tonight, so I can't wait until the show's over. I normally hate when the show ends. Like, I love being in the program, but I'm going to start going through this tonight. So, okay, show's over, because the first email I'm going to go back to is try to find out who exactly Lover 1 is. Lover 1. Like, I don't even know what that would be. Who is he? And he was like, I can't even wait. So do not miss Thursday. And listen, watching on repeat, watching on replay, it's fun. But you're going to want to watch it live with all of us to comment. Yes, it's Dustin, or you're leaving out Basham. I'm just saying, we'll have to find out. So that's going to be fun Thursday. Don't miss it. Okay, let me see here. That takes us to the meat of tonight's show. And I don't want to pump up Thursday's show so much that it's like, oh, tonight. Oh, no, listen. No, listen. Listen. Tonight's show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be looking at the Delaware County Council meeting from this morning. And I actually thought it was a pretty quick meeting, but then looking back on the meeting, I see that, Kate. Looking back on the meeting, I noticed it was like an hour and 30 minutes. So it wasn't as short as what I thought it was. But I guess what I'm really talking about is I was right. As I predicted last night, the show was the meeting this morning. There were only two main parts to the meeting. So tonight we are going to look at the meeting. We're going to look at the meeting as a whole. I would highly recommend anybody, if you have not watched this meeting, go back on our channel and watch the meeting. Okay. Watch the meeting in whole. I think that's very important. We are not going to start the meeting at gavel and play it through gavel. We are going to talk about the meeting as a whole, and then we're going to talk about the two main points, and then we're going to talk about the public comments section at the end, and we're going to talk about that for a little bit. And then Lover one equals gotta love Muncie. I don't know, Jackie. That's very weird. It's very weird. Hello, Mr. Nickum. Appreciate you being here, sir. And yeah, we're gonna get to watch Jessica dance a little bit. I gotta give the council credit. So right up front here tonight, I'm going to say thank you to the Delaware County Council. Thank you to the Delaware County Council for doing the right thing. Today. Okay. But like you could tell that it pained Jessica to it and some of the others too. So we're going to do that. We're going to watch that. We're going to talk about it. And then when that's over, we're going to kick into the Muncie City Council Finance Committee meeting. And it didn't last nearly as long as I thought it would either. So it is what it is. We'll figure that out. Okay, so the meeting starts, and straight away I just had an issue right away, and I sent a text message during the meeting in a group chat. I sent it to Jessica, I sent it to Matt Kantz, and to Ryan Webb. Ryan was the only one that responded during the meeting. Kantz responded right near the end, and I've still not heard back from Jessica. And I got to say, the responses are a little. I was not really happy with the responses I received. I mean, I understand Ryan's response. Sometimes I don't understand where Matt Kantz's head is at. I don't get it. So, okay, starting the meeting, Delaware County Tuesday, September 24th, 2024.
On to the transfer and appropriation agenda.
All right.
You're all by yourself today.
Here we are. It's doing what it does.
No pressure.
I wish the camera would kind of pan back and forth and not just always be on the highlighter queen and attorney I forgot who Freeman. Ben Freeman. I forgot who he was for a second. And Matt Kantz. I wish it would pan more than it does. So straight away, let me look and see when I sent this message, because it's very important. It goes along with what's happening actually in the meeting.
211 office supplies, negative
It
640.
looks like I sent it at 10:03, so that would be like an hour into the meeting. Okay.
Positive 640 for a total.
So the two things that we're going to be looking for. Okay, everything is spelled right. That's good. That's right. It's not September. It'd be really bad if like courtroom was spelled wrong. Back behind, spelled with a K. So there are two things that we're going to be listening to. We're going to be listening to number one, we're going to be listening to for the solar situation. And number two, we're going to be listening for the job description. Pause. Because I see in the comments that GW is talking about a meeting that the Crouches had, and he said it had a good meeting. Were you able to meet the attorney, the female attorney that they hired, Laureen White? I so wished that I could have been there. Laureen watches this program. She could be watching the program right now, for all I know. She generally will watch during the Madison County stuff when we have Catherine on. Catherine and Laureen's husband Sean are friends. They watch. They're kind of we all intermix. I love Laureen. She is wonderful. She is fantastic. She is a badass. She is a perfect person for this grouping of citizens to have. She will put it all on the line for those people. She's wonderful. For those of you that are not familiar with her, just to kind of give you a mind, I know I said this last night. If you were watching when we had Catherine on a few weeks ago, and Catherine got kicked out of the Madison County meeting, the woman that stands up at the podium and says what Catherine was going to say, that's Laureen White. She's very much involved with citizens being active and proactive in their government, and she's very constitutionally minded, and she fights for good government in her own community and at the state level and the federal level. So she is a total badass. She's an attorney. And I don't know exactly what all her practice covers, but I kind of get from what I know of her. I think it's like all over the map. So I will throw this out there. If you're looking for a good attorney, look up Laureen White out of Madison County, because she is a true badass. So, okay. Now moving on with this, this meeting.
Zero.
Make the motion to approve. Second.
They go through the regular
Second by
meeting
Dan. Do we have any questions?
situation, the agenda. They run down the standard protocol that they normally do.
This was,
And there's nothing really of major, like, oh my God, like this is something we need to cover. Really, the big things are the solar ordinance that Ryan Webb put forward,
Delaware County Prevention Council,
first reading, and the second reading of the job description. So let me look for that here.
Prevention, Purdue extension, sleep play, and we're raising it another 10% for next year. So the insurance, not just health insurance, but all of our liability insurance is up.
All right.
That investment in a solar field, but we, the county, don't necessarily. In writing recently, nothing. the numbered,
Yeah, here we are.
convert it to
Motion by Eugene, second by Dan. Roll call.
Here we
please.
are.
Mr. Flanagan.
yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Mr. Camp.
Yes.
Ms. Piper. Yes. I don't see a backfilling report. All right. Yeah, if you could do that real quick, we'll come back. We'll come back to that one. Make a note. All right, moving on to ordinance and resolutions. We have solar abatement moratorium ordinance for first reading at 2024-019.
All right, a little bit about this. This is a solar abatement moratorium. So, again, just to be sure that we are aware of what's happening, the commissioners really deal with the moving ahead of most of what goes on with solar. The planning commission, the commissioners, all of that. The council, their main and really only role in this is if they would give or allow a tax abatement to go through. The commissioners put forward a moratorium until, when is it? March 1st, I think, at midnight. So it'll be to the first of the year and then a little after the first of the year, so everyone newly elected can kind of get their bearings about them. So they put that in place 6 months. Okay, wonderful, great. It's for a good cause. I think they did it to shut everybody up, but we'll take what we can get, and a win is a win. You know, you got to take the little victories. Okay, cool. I immediately thought this plan of Ryan's was genius. Ryan has been talking about kicking this thing around for some time. And then when the commissioners put their moratorium in place, he's like, oh, well, there isn't really a need to do it. And then Ryan heard of something really crazy that happened. And it's kind of James King's fault. And it was like a snowball. It was James King. And then Councilor Hughes kind of let out some more. So what happened was King threw Hughes under the bus, attempting to do whatever he did there. Hughes then released all of his email chain, where we found out that they have been emailing, and King was aware, and Bookout was aware, and Jessica's aware, and all these people are aware of this, and they have been, and they were aware of the Royerton project. Okay, so for any of them to say they weren't, they are full of shit. We have their names on an email list from back before this was a thing, okay? And that company let everyone they were talking to know that they were going to look into filing the paperwork for a possible abatement. So that brought it back up for Ryan Webb, Councilor Ryan Webb again. Along with that, he heard of a very bizarre situation in Bartholomew County, Indiana, where the county council there looked at the application for an abatement for a solar company. They didn't vote yes. They didn't vote no. They just did nothing with it. They voted no against it, excuse me. They didn't vote yes and rescind it like what they were trying to do. They just said, no, thank you, we'll pass. That company then is suing that county because they said no. And what's funny is here in a minute, you will hear Ryan explain that, and all these counselors are like, oh, no, that couldn't happen. To which, of course, the attorney says, just like I would have said, look, this is America. You can sue anybody at any time for anything. Doesn't mean you're going to win. But yeah. And like they said, Ryan's like, well, that's why I'm putting this in place. Hell, this isn't even going to stop them. They could still sue. It doesn't mean they're going to win. It could get dropped or whatever. But this just stops them at the door. So this makes sense. Ryan is like, I just want to put up a united front. The commissioners put the moratorium in place on solar, industrial solar in Delaware County. We're putting a moratorium on industrial solar abatements. It's just, don't even ask. We're not looking. We're not doing. We're not interested. Boom, bang, pow. All right. It is what it is. I think it's a brilliant plan. Ryan did some research into this. Ryan talked to other county councilors. He talked to the people in Bartholomew and talked to other counties. And he did what a lot of councilors do. He borrowed an abatement ordinance from another county. He looked at it, kicked all this through, and then he moved that up the chain as is what they're supposed to do to their attorney. And he said, I want to put this forward. And then Ryan reached out and was talking to citizens, and citizens were reaching out to the random counselors and saying, we want you to support this. Ryan let me know about it. I was in support of it. The citizens were in support of it. We were all very in support of this. Okay. And so Ryan did a good job with this. This is the only thing they've ever allowed of Ryan's to go on an agenda. This was a really big deal. And normally when the counselor or a counselor puts an ordinance or a resolution forward, they're the one to introduce that to the council. Listen to what Jessica does straight off the bat. It's gross.
This was submitted to Ben to work on. Ben, would you like to explain this one for us?
What? She doesn't say that Ryan introduced it. She said this was introduced to Ryan, given to Ben to work on. Ben, do you want to explain this? You can tell Ben, look at him. He looks shocked as all get out. He's not a counselor. He has no reason to be talking right now. She will not do anything to give Ryan any kind of praise. She does not know anything about leadership. She is not a leader. She should not be president. She should not be a public servant. She is gross. This is disgusting, and shame on her for doing this. This was Ryan's moment, not because he did this for a moment in the sun, but because he was doing the right thing by Delaware County, by the citizens of the county, and she just cannot give him any shining moment. Absolutely disgusting. So we have the attorney who helped prepare this and knows what it is. He's like, oh, it's not, he doesn't get paid for this. Matter of fact, I didn't elect him to do this job, and neither did any of you. He should not be doing this.
Sure.
A little bit. Well, it came up kind of quickly.
Yeah, so this primarily was.
So you can hear her doing her poo-poo there, Will. It came up kind of quickly.
My understanding is that an ordinance that was introduced in Wells County, Indiana, a copy was sent to me by Councilman Webb, and he asked me to, essentially it was a PDF. He asked me to convert it to a Word document and then make some changes to make it apply to Delaware County, and then give it a Delaware County ordinance number, which is what I did, and obviously put our county council members on the signature lines. And other than that, I didn't change anything, so I can't really speak for the content of the ordinance.
You mean, Mr. Attorney, you didn't read through it? You spent time working on, listen, he's now trying to I worked on it, but I don't know what it says. I can't be held responsible for any of this. So simultaneously, they're wanting to take Ryan's moment from him while also trying to be like, but if it's a screw up deal, it's his fault.
Had no part in coming up with it or drafting.
I'll entertain a motion to open up for first reading.
So moved.
Who was that? Was that Eugene?
Second.
Motion by Eugene, second by Bill. All right, do we have?
All right, so interesting. Motion was made. Ryan didn't even make the motion, which that's amazing. Eugene made the motion. Bill Hughes seconded it. So, all right, that's interesting because it means they're kind of invested in this. All right, let's hear what they have to say.
Discussion on this. Sure we do.
I have a clarifying question. It reads, and Ben, I know this is not yours, so interpret as best you can.
And here Matt Kantz is goody do writer, you know, doing like and Matt ends up doing the right thing here, but you just see how ho-hum they are about, like, it seems like they all just hate the fact that they've got to give Ryan the benefit of the doubt of, wow, he did something. He's a big boy, gross. Shame on them for this.
1, 2, 3, fourth draft. The council acknowledges a prior and existing proposal for large-scale commercial solar energy generation, storage systems, and facilities receiving.
And so basically he reads through, and it's like, obviously he says, like, we can't control what Muncie does. Muncie can do whatever. No, right. This is for Delaware County. This is the unincorporated areas of Delaware County. It's what it's what they do. It is what it is. Okay, this is common sense. Now, to Matt's credit, he says, I don't think this is necessary, but I mean, I'm okay with this, but I don't think it's necessary, but I'm okay with it, but I don't think it's necessary. It's like, Matt, all right, you sold it. You're good. You vote for it and you said you like it. So the solar people are happy with you. Meanwhile, you also kind of poked holes in it and talked about how stupid it is. So Jessica's also happy with you. So good job, buddy. You ride the fence for another month.
Impact. Affect, delay, repeal, eject, or deny any.
Okay, so like let me tell you where we're at in America, folks. We're at a point in America where we're past being able to ride a fence. It's called shit or get off the pot. You cannot be lukewarm on this stuff, to use a Bible term. All right? You are either a good guy or you're not. And a good guy doesn't make excuses for doing the right thing. If you feel like you've got to make excuses for doing the right thing, then you're not part of my team.
Just the identification, but I guess my question is, because then in the
I'm going to move it along. You can go back if you want to hear all of that. His stuttering around, you can go watch it yourself. It's Matt Kantz doing what Matt Kantz does.
Yes, because I think when you get down into the numbered paragraphs where it actually talks about what you're doing.
Obviously, we don't have any say over what Muncie does, and another council can undo this. Right. I mean, we all know that. Like, what?
That's
just
what I wanted to clarify. Yep. A couple of thoughts. I do support this.
Okay, here comes Mr. Hughes.
And I thank Council Webb for bringing it forward.
I do support it, and I do thank Councilor Webb for bringing it forward. Okay.
Strictly speaking, it may not be necessary.
Strictly speaking, it may not be necessary. Now, I will give Hughes just a hair of a pass on that because he is an attorney, and so right now he's in attorney brain. But I'm also going to crack him a little bit the same I did Matt. Look, you're either for it or you're against it. It's either necessary or it's not. I don't want people voting through laws that aren't necessary. We either are going to put together a solidified effort and put together a forward-facing, this is what we believe here in Delaware County, and this is what we're doing, or we're not, So you don't need, I just am so mad that it feels like it was such a such a like a concerted effort on their part, and I don't want to put Bill in on this, but definitely Jessica, maybe Matt, because he feels like, and Eugene, because they feel like they got to come to Jessica's aid, that they just like they don't want to give Ryan too much credit, and that's Ryan's the only one really in this bunch that's had the balls to do what's needed to be done.
Because of the guidelines the council adopted for tax abatements back in June, under those guidelines, it'd be difficult to see how a large-scale solar project in an agricultural area could be approved. But that being said, there's certainly no harm in expressing our opinion regarding those types of tax abatements as stated in this.
There is no harm in it.
The other thing I wanted to say is to correct the record.
Okay, and in fairness, he does the right thing. Bill announces what we already know because he released it to me and we've already talked about it. But he talks about the fact, listen.
At last month's meeting, I made the statement that I had not heard of the organization.
Now, do you hear it's kind of funky? It sounds like there's like growling underneath. Sounds like somebody's dragging a microphone through the gravel. All right, that's a technical problem on their end, not ours.
Grid, which is the developer of the proposed solar farm in the Raritan area. My memory failed me. I had received an email in May 16th, from the attorney, and she did identify the company as National Grid. When I realized that, I sent copies of that email correspondence to all the.
So he's just owning up to his mistake. So, you know, coming clean and being like,
responded to her email,
you know, I responded and that was it.
And all she said in the email was that this was in the Royerton area. She didn't give me any further specifics than that.
And we've already talked about all that. So I give him hats off to him for doing the right thing.
But again, that being said, I do support more.
Bill, have you received anything from them in writing recently?
Nothing.
I was contacted by the lady from National Grid yesterday.
What? So now we find out that Matt was contacted by National Grid yesterday. Listen to this.
There was an implication that there was some sort of economic plan or something else passed along to. Did anybody receive anything like that in writing?
I received a phone call like you, but nothing in writing. And
okay.
I think that was an email yesterday. I think I may have got an email yesterday too.
From them.
She just doesn't want to act like she didn't get it. Like they contacted Matt, but not her. Like, well, why didn't you speak up, Jessica?
Oh.
So here's what I will be doing, because I didn't think about this until right now when I said it. Tomorrow, I will issue a records request for Matt's emails and for her emails for the National Grid thing, and I will find out who received the email and who didn't. And we'll find out what the situation is there.
Okay. Because my statement to them was basically what I've said all along, which is economically speaking, I don't feel that commercial solar projects, which are being subsidized in other ways, need to be subsidized by the local county. There's no economic information that I've been able to receive. She referenced the Baker-Tilly study of some sort that may be coming out, a new one. So I'd be happy to look at that. However, the previous, a new one.
That's what it was a Baker-Tilly report, yeah.
Well, I haven't seen that yet. So, and knowing what the previous one did for the abatements that were provided, were at a minimum misleading, and if not, misleading to the point that we the county don't really receive any economic benefit outside of the economic development agreement number that was signed by the commissioners of $2 million over 10 years payment.
So from a tax standpoint, we're not receiving it. The taxpayers of the surrounding area.
I mean, look, I'm glad that Matt brought this out, but why didn't he post this on social media? Why didn't he make a big announcement about getting contacted yesterday? Like, if this would have went a different way, was he not going to bring this up? I mean, if Bill didn't bring up the email, would that not have triggered Matt to bring it up? I'm just real iffy in why it came out the way it came out. I don't like that. These people, besides being the fiscal body, they are also representatives of the citizens. They need to be meeting people where they're at. They need to have social media accounts, and they need to be able to talk to people. They feel like they can only do work when they're right here in this meeting. That's not the truth. They can also speak and have opinions and go on the record the other 29 and 30 days out of the month.
Receive potential tax breaks as part of that investment in a solar field, but we, the county, don't necessarily receive.
All right, moving along.
Vote in favor of this to at least, even though we have publicly said, I think.
Jim Mokel's talking. Sometimes I don't even know if Mr. Mokel knows where he's at. I don't know what's going on.
That we're necessarily in favor of at this particular point in time. I feel like it's appropriate to reach out to those people that might want to have and might want to come before us for abatements to clarify in advance that if approved, this council is not going to entertain abatements.
I don't want to reach out to anybody
One other quick
and
point of clarity
offer
from
the
the
possibility of
conversation was that
abatements or
there's-
even talk
the panel's
about that.
supposed to be
I don't want anybody to come for abatements unless it's an absolute need that they need to, and it's going to be beneficial somehow to them and to the county. Let's just start contacting people. I get what he's saying. Like, contact all these people and be like, look, we're not doing the abatements. No, don't even open that door.
A workshop of sort for public officials.
Now Matt brings up, hey, isn't there supposed to be a workshop in a couple of days between the solar and public officials? Where's that about? What do you mean? How many public officials will be there? You can't have more than a quorum, or it needs to be a public meeting. And are they going to do this closed door? Like, now I'm interested in what he's talking about here.
15th, that
October
they requested
15th.
we attend. I, of course, for to do that, I do think that we need to hear all sides to this equation. We don't hear a lot of supporters, come before us, not direct supporters, people who have signed leases for land, things.
Are they like begging people to, listen, everybody knows when the commissioners' meetings are. Everyone knows when the council meetings are. All of the people against this have had to take off work and come here. Anyone is free to come and speak on this either way they want. It's like they're begging people to come speak in favor of this.
They're drooling over the potential income this could be because of what they see. Randolph County is taking full advantage of this.
Yeah, right.
And they make it seem like Randolph County is just rolling in dough.
Yeah.
Because of this. Well, Randolph County is able to plug holes because of money coming in from this.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Absolutely.
They're drooling over the money, and that's why this behavior.
Yeah, you're exactly correct. Exactly correct. Yes, Tweety Bird. Now, folks, while we're going back and forth, I've been off screen. That's the reason I haven't been speaking directly to you. I should have told you that, but yes, I came back on long enough to talk to Kate. Tweety Bird, you're exactly right. They are too nonchalant about all this new information. That's exactly correct.
From very many, if at all, really, actually. And so they're pulling together some workshop of some sort on the 15th, I believe is what you said. And I did offer to attend.
That's good to know about.
One thing that one of the previous meetings we had with solar people was that, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, if somebody is smarter than me, was that they had to basically have the land leased to go talk to the power company to make sure they could do it.
All right,
Come back
I'm
to
not
us.
interested in what he's got to say.
It does not necessarily stop a solar company.
Okay, listen to this.
I received some emails and some phone calls, and I
This is
that all
nuts.
of us up here on this bench weren't necessarily about abatements. I think it was pretty clear that all of us up here on this bench weren't necessarily in favor of seeing any kind of solar abatement moving forward. I received some emails and some phone calls, and I've talked to some people. So I want to just clarify this for like the record too. 'Cause some of the emails I received alluded to this changing the solar ordinance. This doesn't do anything to change the solar ordinance, not a thing.
Okay, I'm okay with her saying that because that's right. That is factual information. This has nothing to do with the solar ordinance, and I understand sometimes people don't understand that, so I'm okay with that.
Solar ordinance is not our authority. You'd want to still go talk to the plan commission and your commissioners about that. So this is nothing except for a solar abatement. And to be, in the spirit of transparency and reality, it does not necessarily stop a solar company from coming to our community. We all know now they don't need those extra monies from us. Like Matt was saying, they get federal monies and such. So it doesn't stop it. And then also too, just a reminder that
Right, Jessica.
that this is the decision this council is making, but it can be rescinded just like any other ordinance. Any
Yeah,
other time.
yeah,
So just for
yeah.
some, make everyone aware of what this is actually doing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what it doesn't do. I wanted to make sure I clarified that because I know I sent some emails back and forth and
Okay.
had some phone calls, and just want to clear up some misunderstandings. So hopefully
Yes.
that does that. Do we have anything else from council?
Yeah, I'd like to add a couple things.
Sure.
So I appreciate Councilmember Hughes and Kent's support for the ordinance. Real quick before I go any further, the main part that I was hoping to get with this is section 3 says the council imposes a indefinite moratorium on the filing, the processing, the review, the consideration, and the granting of all applications for tax abatement and other subsidies that relate to large scale commercial solar or other alternative energy generation, storage systems, or facilities. This includes carbon capture, storage in the ground. This includes industrial solar. This includes all those things that keep you up late at night if you're someone who's concerned about this coming in your neighborhood or across the street from your home you've lived, for decades or so. I was just kicking around this idea for a couple months, and I think a month or two ago, the commissioners, they implemented their own moratorium. So I thought, okay, well, it's probably not necessary. Maybe we'll just let this go. We got a moratorium. But then something very important happened. There was an email release. I believe Councilmember Hughes released the email from his communication with the attorney for the solar company. And she made it very clear in that email that she had every intentions of filing for a tax abatement for that solar farm in the fall when their, I think it was a 90-day notice expired or something along those lines.
She did
made it
say
clear
that.
They were gonna file in the fall. That's why the urgency, kicked into high gear. That's why this kind of come up suddenly because it went from, okay, I don't think we need it to, not only do we need it now. We need to get this in place before this is filed, and I'll tell you why. This council's made tremendous efforts in the past to
Listen.
ensure that we're not put in a situation of spending taxpayer money on litigation. Even if we're in the right, even in a case we'll win, we'll spend hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And he is right. Even when we're going to win, we will spend a lot of money doing that. Now, at the end of the day, I think it was Tim Nickum on the Delaware County feed said, you got to pick your battle. Are you gonna fight a lawsuit doing the right thing, fighting the solar company who might be doing something wrong, or are you gonna fight a battle because the citizens get together and say, hey, we're not happy, and the citizens file a suit? Look, at some point you got to pick your poison, pick your battle, and it's always better to do it with the citizens than against the citizens. And so that's the thing. The other aspect here is, and I like Ryan saying this, is because he almost uses their fear against them when he drops this little truth nugget.
I feel like this type of situation could come about without an abatement such as this. Give an example. I believe it was Bartholomew County. They had a very similar situation as the ours. They were considering allowing solar to come in. The only thing they did different than us is we had already passed the abatement and we were considering rescinding it. They never even passed it. They just considered it like any normal county would, and they decided it wasn't for
They considered it and they said no, thank you.
them. Well, that solar company sued them just because they said no, not in our community. And now they're on the hook for thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars defending their county for exercising their right to say no to industrial solar. What this ordinance does is it stops the filing and consideration of. So it stops it before it even gets started.
Now listen, notice he's not saying it stops us from being sued. He's not saying that. Ryan's not an idiot. He's just saying it stops them from even filing an abatement. So we can't even consider it if we've stopped it, which makes sense. You know, hell, they could still sue us, I guess. Yeah, Jessica, you're right. Ben Freeman, you're right. They could still sue us. But if we've not even picked up their paperwork, if we don't know their names, if we don't even know they exist, chances are that's not a suit that's going to happen.
One can sue us because we've not even looked at your application to deny it. That's why I think this is an important ordinance. And I'll go one step further, and I hope we have the support of the council. I would like to gauge loosely off the record. Well, everything's on the record here, but I would be interested to the appetite of the council to suspend the rules to adopt this today and forego the second reading and see what kind of feedback we have from members of the council on that.
I have a question. So for Ben, Councilman Webb saying that we could not be sued if we put this in place.
No. Jessica, I don't know, man, if your hatred for the dude, it's blinded you and made you deaf and dumb and blind and all of that. I'm not really sure. Ryan did not say that. Ryan said it stops us from even having to look at this, and it takes that away. He didn't say that this is like a magic shield that's going to protect us forevermore against any lawsuit. Ryan is not saying that. So she's just adding her own words in like she frequently does. And of course, they're trying to make Ryan look stupid. Like, oh, whoa, you could be sued for anything at any time.
But you can be sued at any time for any reason, so.
So it's not like we can't, it doesn't stop.
Sure.
Yeah, look at her. Look at her.
And
I mean, look at her like in the just the absolute disgust that she looks at Ryan with when she like looks back over at him. It's just like dripping off of her face, man.
And that's a good point. You're right. And we can all be sued at any point. What this primarily does is this sends a message to the solar, and Jessica mentioned it earlier. Look, they don't need the abatement. The abatement is just a cherry on top, right? This is more of a message that we're not interested. There's 91 other counties in this community. Go see one of them. It's not supported here in Delaware County. We have an abatement in place for a reason, and the message is not interested. No, thank you. The red carpet is rolled up. We're open to all sorts of business. Industrial solar is, in my opinion.
I would believe that this ordinance is valid, enforceable, and within our authority. Otherwise, I wouldn't.
All right, there you go. I mean, you know, listen, as an attorney, I'm going to take Bill Hughes over Ben Freeman any day of the week. Bill said it. As an ordinance, I think that this is valid and it's needed and it's enforceable under the laws, or else otherwise I wouldn't have supported it. He seconded the damn thing. So rock and roll, let's go.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And
no, wait a minute. Whitehead, he needs to stand up for the princess.
the fact remains we can be sued
Look.
for anything, but the reality of even if an application was made, I did just receive from Jessica this estimated Baker Tilly report for the proposed solar.
Wait. So when he talked the first time, he was like, we're supposed to be getting this Baker Tilly thing. And then at some point, since he said that 5 minutes ago, she's picked up her little yellow phone and she emailed it to him. Why didn't she send that to him before? Why doesn't the rest of the council have that? That also will be something that I will be requesting in my record request to her tomorrow. Like, the way they just the way that they do things is not above board, man. And this goes back to me talking to the council a couple weeks ago when I said, when you guys go home, don't go home and pat yourselves on the back thinking you're doing a good job, because you're not doing the will of the public. When you're hiding and you're not transparent, you're not doing good, period. And you cannot change my mind otherwise.
Like to review. I think it's very similar to the ones that we saw before. And, you know, making sure that we're doing our due diligence, just as,
Eugene.
I mean, Councilman Camp covered everything I was going to say. I don't want to rush through this either. I am in support of the ordinance.
I don't want to rush through this.
I want to give it due diligence. I mean, the ink is barely dried on it. I want to make sure that council's read through it well. If there's any questions, I would like to see it on our agenda for next month. Going on at 10.
All right, whatever.
Do we have any other?
Put it on the agenda for next month. Have at it.
I would just say one more comment, and typically the room is packed with people who are against the solar, industrial solar.
Listen to what Ryan says.
And Matt's point, I guess it would be, in all fairness, we have to give the people who are in favor of an opportunity to show up and
Come
express their
on
desires
out.
to continue forward with it. So if you're watching, but then next month,
Where you been? Come on.
Continue.
And that's only only pertaining to tax abatement.
And then here she's saying this shit again.
Concerns for or against industrial solar, the Plan Commission.
Yeah, we don't want to hear you. We're not concerned about your
authority over the ordinance itself. This ordinance is simply for the tax
Look at her
abatement
eyes, man.
process. With that, roll call, please.
She's so annoyed.
Mr. Flanagan,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Mokel,
Yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead,
Yes.
Mr. Cant,
yes.
Ms. Pipe.
Yes.
So it passed 7-all, but begrudgingly. I mean, some of them went along with it perfectly, and some of them, like Jessica, went kicking and screaming. I mean, it's insane.
All right, let's.
Can't sounded like he was considering saying no.
Listen, I heard that enough people reached out to Cants, and Cants was a positive yes all the way through this. But I'm here to tell you,
his behavior today did not.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
He almost stuttered over that. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And look at what GW says here. This is big. Laureen, and she's been involved in a lot of this, said Delaware County Anti-Solar Group is the most organized group that she has dealt with thus far. I'm telling you, listen, and I'm hoping the solar people hear me. We have an election coming up. I helped my grandparents fill out their absentee ballots today. There is a spot at the very end of the ballot where there are 5 people running for 3 at-large council seats. Ryan Webb's seat, Jessica's seat, Eugene's seat. All right, Webb is gone. We know that. Jessica and Eugene are the 2 Republicans, and Brad Bookout. Now, he used to be a Democrat, so I'm going to mark him always like I did King. I would mark him like James King, D/R. That's how Bookout's going to be marked. He's going to be Bradley Bookout, D/R. Bookout does not need to be on the council. Do not vote Bookout in. Bookout will be for solar. Bookout will not be good. Bookout will be worse than Jessica. Do not put Bookout on this council. Solar, do not put them on the council. I'm telling you. Here's what I got to say. All right. Here's who I'm telling you what I'm not. You do what you want to do. Roger Overby's running. Roger Overby is a Democrat, but I'm telling you, he's like he's more Republican than he is Democrat. He's into guns. He's into law enforcement. He's pro red, white, and blue. He's not even a Kennedy-crat. He's just really a Republican that's running under the Democrat banner, and he always has. So it is what it is. I would have no problem with putting Roger Overby on the council. Roger Overby, Eugene Whitehead. Those are the two votes we cast. We bullet voted, and then we left. They left the other one blank because I guess in the end, vote for Whitehead. So what I would tell you guys in Solar to do: do not vote for Jessica. Do not vote for Jessica. Do not vote for Bookout. Ryan Webb says the department head asked me what they should do because they were concerned over salaries. I told him to stop voting for the same damn people every time. We're going to talk about that right next. Here's what's going to come up next. That's where we're headed right now.
Backfilling report.
Take it off the table.
So let's move down to the salary ordinance.
Description 2024-15 for a second reading.
Here's a salary ordinance, and it's up for its second reading. Keep in mind, they've still not fixed it. It's still not all put together. They still want it voted and passed through, and then after it's passed through, they can fix it, which makes no damn sense.
Off the table, but Ben did make the changes we requested last month. And that was their effective date, right?
Yes, I think it was perhaps Councilman Whitehead that has suggested, although I'm not sure it was moved and voted on, but I prepared one anyway, just in case you decided to do that today. An amended version. The only change was that the ordinance would be effective January 1, 2025. Otherwise, it's the same ordinance as previously presented.
I move to remove ordinance 2024-015 from the table.
All right, so they're pulling it off the table.
Final adopt. Second.
So they vote.
Go ahead.
All right, motion by Bill, second by Eugene. Do we have any additional discussion?
I do. Or I have a question. I mean, to remove from the table, you need to.
Oh, roll call?
Yeah, she
Okay,
doesn't
roll
even
call
know
then.
what's going on.
Okay.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Mr. Camp.
Yes.
Ms. Pipe.
Yes.
Okay, so they voted to
Right,
pull
now
it
we're
off the table to discuss it.
As Bill has indicated previously, obviously these job descriptions are a work in progress. So
Work in progress.
I, like many others, probably feel like we haven't quite tied off 100% of the, particularly the FLSA components.
We haven't got it all figured out yet.
Relative to exclusion, primarily. I know we've got the discussion around chief deputies and such. So, but at the same time, I think we're just kicking the can down the road when we need to get these in place and work through the process of altering them as needed.
That
process, however, Bill, we haven't really.
That's the second ordinance.
Yeah, we outlined it in that second ordinance for the classifications and such. But the process has not completely been determined. So if we adopt this, we're adopting what's written as is in the descriptions that have sit with the HR today. And we, in essence, I guess, have a few, because it's not till January 1st, we have a few months to work through and get these altered.
what happens if you vote for it today and then by then you don't like what you've done?
The department heads need to go through it line by line again and have a discussion with HR and us to.
You guys keep saying this, but they're not doing it.
In the next couple months.
I'm going to share the same concerns I've shared each time this has been brought up. I think there are flaws in this job description. I know there's been at least, on my count, 3 separate department heads who have shared considerable concerns that the job description doesn't accurately reflect their employees and their job responsibilities. Furthermore, as was mentioned, I think by Councilmember Camp, what are we in September? We still have October, November, and December. I just cannot wrap my head around why we would approve it if it's not ready and then work on it after the fact. If it doesn't take place till January 1st, why can't we continue working on it through these months, and then when it's completed, then approve it?
That makes
It just
sense.
seems like we're putting the cart before the horse.
Well,
I know you've worked hard on it. I don't want to discount what you've done.
this is step one, and we have another step still to go, and we haven't even started that one, which is the actual classifications with,
Okay, Mr. Kantz, though, but that's whose fault is that? Start on it. Or you want to vote on that too before you completely tell me another situation that you do this. Keep in mind, these are all Republicans. Keep in mind, they were all making faces and mad at Nancy Pelosi when she said, you got to vote on it to know what's in it. Keep in mind, they were all mad when the Democrats were saying that. They did not like that. And they shared memes and they were mad, rightfully so. But now they're in charge and they're saying the same damn thing, you know. So it's okay. It's because we want it.
with the rates, which we're working through on the budget, but we have yet to actually adopt. So,
But we're working on the budget with the assumption that this is what's going to be in place with some tweaks. We know, like Matt's point earlier.
With the
going to still have
assumption.
It's a living document. It'll be tweaked.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, Ryan. You're not wrong. I've heard the same concerns, and there is work.
I don't listen now. Here's classic Kantz. I don't disagree with you, Ryan. You're not wrong, but I'm going to argue a completely different point, and I'm going to vote completely different. I don't disagree with you, and you're not wrong, but I'm going to completely disagree with you because I think that you're wrong.
Be done. It's never going to be over. It's not going to be over by January. It's not going to be over by the next part of the next year when things start to really.
Well, maybe that's a problem. I mean, if this thing is that convoluted and you guys can't grasp what's happening and get it nailed down, maybe we don't need it.
Out, or people get replaced and they realize the job description isn't right, et cetera. So, again, I think we're just kicking the can down the road here. We gotta get this over with so we can move on to the next thing.
All right.
And then
Let's just
work
do it.
through,
Let's just do it. Look, hey,
it as
why
we
are we
go.
even
This
talking?
is where
It's going to be a
everything
6-1 vote. We all know that. Let's
is to
get
go
on
back
with it.
down, so.
In my mind, the reason for doing it now is that on October 3rd, we're going to adopt our budget for 2025. And the budget and these job descriptions are now, if not completely tied together, they're closely related. We've been looking back and forth between the salary study and the budget, trying to align the two, and which I think is what we should be doing. But I'd rather have these job descriptions, have a commitment to these job descriptions now rather than, as Pat said, kick it down the road.
All right, any further discussion?
Okay, now you need a motion to adopt ordinance.
Motion to adopt. Here we go.
5 as amended to make it effective January 1st, 2025. The motion, that was a motion. Second.
All right, motion by Bill, second by Eugene, for a motion as amended. Roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
No.
No.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Cant.
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
All right,
6-1.
thank you for that.
Put department heads on notice that they need to try to get this.
Put the department heads on notice. They need to be doing the same
It's
thing that
gonna
we've
be
been
a
telling them
living
that they're just not
document.
going to
I mean,
do.
it's going to be straightened out.
Okay.
Often.
I mean, I don't know how they make that happen. All right, now we're going to advance it pretty quickly. We're going to go up here to the about the hour and 3-minute mark.
For that second reading on the ordinance. I do appreciate that. You're
Sure.
When Fred was looking to get something, we couldn't get a
450.
Discussed at the budget hearings was 41.
I don't know where it was. It doesn't sound as bad.
Signed leases for land,
One of the
things
gripes
like
I
that.
had was the audio
Porter?
sound today was atrocious.
Gavin Green, Delaware County Coroner. Sorry again about I don't have the report to send to you this.
The audio's not
Um,
too bad at the moment, so I'm
busy.
not. I'm going to go on with it.
Staff has
All right, we now go into the comments. All right, and these commenters, I love them. I love them. There's Autumn, and there's Doug, and there's Ron, and there's Steve, and there's Mike, and Janet, and Mallory. And my God, these people are right on point. They keep going up and saying the same thing. They're kicking ass. I love them. This is what we need. You guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. You guys are badass. I appreciate you. I love it. You guys are amazing. Keep on it. This is citizen government, and this is what I love to see. We are now going to go to a public comment that is a rather interesting comment and is controversial. It's going to be controversial now. It was controversial this morning, and my thoughts on this are going to be probably controversial. Let's play that now.
My name is Chris Music. I live in the
Chris Music gets up. He's a Delaware County citizen. He is currently a candidate for Delaware County Council. All right, so he's running. Chris Music is a Democrat, but he's not just a Democrat. He is definitely what I would consider to be a far-leaning, left-leaning, liberal Democrat. All right, far-leaning Democrat. Okay. He gets up. He says who he is. He says where he lives. He doesn't need to say that, but he did it. Okay, let's listen to what he's got to say.
historic Meats neighborhood. Many voters in Delaware County still feel the sting from the black eye the insurrection gave our democracy.
Many voters in Delaware County still feel the sting that the insurrection gave our, put on our democracy. I probably feel as though I could go just up to any citizen in Delaware County, every citizen I interact with, and I would say, hey, what is your top 10 concerns in Delaware County? What's your top 10 concerns in Indiana? What's your top 10 concerns in America? What are your top 10 political concerns? I don't know many of them that would be like, oh, I'm really concerned about the insurrection that happened on January 6th, 2021. I don't know many, maybe Chris Music. Other than that, I don't know how many would say that. All right. So there, I disagree with that. Okay. But that's just, I think that's far reaching. Okay.
It is important for any persons participating in the riots and who are running for public office to explain to the voters of Delaware County their intentions and actions on January 6, 2021. Mr. Stephen.
Okay, and at that point, like, I know where we were going, but I'm like, what's he doing?
Brand is running for Delaware County Commissioner.
Excuse me. This is
okay. So he said Mr. Stephen Brand is running for Delaware County Commissioner, and Jessica gavels him and says, excuse me. Let's listen to what she says here. Okay, let's listen to what she says.
Voters of Delaware County, their intentions and actions on January 6, 2021. Mr. Stephen Brand is running for Delaware County Commissioner.
Excuse me. This isn't a political forum.
This is an open time when I can give a presentation about what I want to talk about. Mr. Brand is running for county commissioner, one of the highest political offices in the county.
This is not a forum for political discussion.
I'm asking for Mr. Brand to talk to the voters about his participation in the insurrection and if the 650 guns that he had confiscated are in any way related to that insurrection. And this is something that he is refusing to participate in any political discussions or forums about his acts.
And look, Matt Kantz uses his glasses to kind of make a motion to the sheriff who's in that corner of the room to be like, hey, you gonna go do something about this? All right. So, and look, it looks like he's getting ready to pop off. All right. All right. Let's listen. We're almost done. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel about this. Hold on. Look, she's looking at the sheriff.
All right.
Okay. He stopped. He sat down or what? I don't even know why he stopped. What happened there? Okay. Let's talk about this for a second. Here's the deal. I think Chris Music is a nut job. Basically, I think that Chris is just completely whacked out. We share hardly no beliefs, hardly if any, that are in common, and we politically, we are polar opposites. Polar opposites. Okay? I do not agree with him at all. I don't believe I'm backing Brand. I like Brand. I know Brand. I support Brand. I helped my grandparents vote for Brand today. I'm going to vote for him when I vote. I love Brand. Brand is going to be a good commissioner. Brand has been cleared of everything by the ATF. The ATF never had anything on him. The situation with the ATF had nothing to do with January 6th, had nothing to do with the protest or the insurrection or whatever you want to call it. Had nothing to do with that. It had to do with the fact that he is a strong lover and supporter of the Second Amendment, and he has gun collections and has bought guns and he has sold guns and yada, yada, yada. And you know what? They recently came out and concluded nothing. He's never been arrested. He's never been charged. He's never been indicted. Nothing. They literally, seriously just wanted to talk to him and ran his name through the mud for a little bit and then was like, okay, all right, go back amongst your life. Okay? I don't agree with anything that Chris was saying. However, I will fight until my dying breath his right to stand at that podium and say those words for the same amount of time that anyone else there is able to speak. That what we just witnessed was the definition of viewpoint discrimination. I hate when elected officials that sit with an R or a D behind their name, or an L, or green, or G for Green Party, or whatever, I for Independent, sit at a table and lecture someone speaking, saying, "Oh, this is not a political." It's all politics, folks. We're not at a church service. We're not in an ice cream social. You're not school teachers. You're not taxi drivers. You're government officials. You know what? First and foremost, they gave Chris exactly what he wanted. They played right into his hand. Chris isn't even running against Brand. He's not even running against Brand. You know what Chris now gets to say? You know what Chris Music now gets to say? I got up to speak. I got up to speak in a meeting, and my opponent viewpoint discriminated against me and gavelled me down. And if you don't agree with that, then you should vote against her. You should elect me and not her. He gets to say that all that he wants. He isn't running for county council. However, and okay, so let me tell you a couple of things that people are going to disagree with. That's exactly. Chris was hoping that for that situation to play out. Now, let me take a couple of your comments here because we got to move on to city. All right. Brand was in the audience. Yeah, I'm aware Brand was in the audience. I'm aware he's sitting by the sheriff. Brand's a big boy. Brand is capable of taking care of himself. Brand wasn't sitting in the corner crying. He's not like a lot of other elected officials. He's not someone to boo-hoo and cry about it. He understands he's going to take shit. He gets it. Okay. I don't know. We can flip coins. I'll never tell. Do I have more guns than Brand? Does Brand have more guns than me? I'll put it to you this way. Don't come to my house looking. All right. We'll just say he's maybe got one or two and I maybe got one or two. We'll keep it at that. All right. I love the Second Amendment. I support the Second Amendment, and I can't get enough guns. I don't believe that there's such a thing as enough guns. All right. He got back all of his guns. Fantastic. I love it. I'm happy. He should have never had to give up his guns. The ATF shouldn't have done what they did to him. Okay. Total trash that they did that. Absolutely ridiculous. I want Brand to win. Okay, there's a couple of things here. He hasn't been charged, so we have to let it go, Tweety Bird said. Look, I'm not even going to say that. He hasn't been charged. You don't have to let it go. You don't got to let it go. He's a candidate. He's entered the free-for-all. I like Brand. I support Brand. But I'm not telling anybody to give him an easy pass. Question him. Ask him. Now, I will agree he's not running for the council. And, this probably was not the ideal place, but let me explain it to you. This is a county council meeting. These are publicly elected officials. This is a public building. During a public meeting, during business hours, Chris should be allowed to speak his mind. He wasn't being violent. He wasn't cursing, and even if he was, yeah, you know what? Tough cookies, and I was nice when I said that. It is what it is. I don't have a problem with people speaking something that I don't like. Only cowards are afraid of someone speaking against you. You don't have to like me and everything I say. I'm okay with that. Brand is not a child. Brand can take care of himself. Brand didn't need Matt Kantz and the Delaware County. I applaud Tony Skinner for not getting involved. Tony Skinner did the right thing. That's why he is badass. Okay, let me see some more. And listen. I want to say 100%. They should have just let Chris talk. Run his yap. He would have sat down and that would have been it. Now they gave him a campaign. He didn't have a campaign. Now they gave him a campaign. Now he can be like, I got up to talk, and my opponent, because she is one of his opponents, gavelled me down. Viewpoint discrimination. All right. So I don't like that. Okay. I don't like it. Yeah. Right. GW says Chris chose to quit talking and walk away. They didn't physically force him away. And I understand that, but they should not have gavelled him and made a big deal. They should have let him run his 3 minutes and then sat down. All right. That's the bottom line. This was more about Chris and Jessica. Brand was simply the distraction that allowed the scene to unfold the way that it did. Very calculating, even though dude is insane. Absolutely. Tweety Bird says maybe it was a personal attack. Hey, no, it wasn't. It was a citizen talking about a candidate. And that sucks, but Brand is a big boy and he can take it. And I listen, I'm not a fan of Chris music. I messaged Chris and I said, hey, I don't like what you got to say and I think you're a nut, but I would fight to the death your ability to say it. Listen, I can't sue somebody for my First Amendment right and then not stand up for Chris's. I would be a hypocrite. I would be a bitch. If I stood up and said that he doesn't have a right to say what he wants to say, I would need to go to the ACLU and tell them to withdraw my lawsuit. They've permitted way worse about Ryan in public council meetings. We also need to consider that. Think about what's happened there. So I cannot wait for Jessica to not be in that president's seat. I'm so sick of her being there. And again, I'm not a big fan of Chris, and I don't like what he was saying. I like Brand. I don't think Brand is a terrorist. Brand wasn't doing anything crazy in DC. He was watching it unfold and he came home. So it is what it is. Yeah. Okay. I don't like that. I hate when they do that. I hate when they do that shit. It never plays well, and I'm always going to get riled up when they do that nonsense. Okay. From there, we go on to the Muncie City Council meeting, and this shouldn't take as long because it was more disappointing than what the other did. Absolutely. Tweety Bird says, I don't know that. Yeah, I do know that. I do know that he didn't walk through. Yeah, I'm absolutely. Yes. What? How do you know what I know or don't know? How can you say that? You don't know that I don't know. You don't know that. I specifically know what he did. Number one, because I've asked, and I believe the answer I was given. Number two, because he hasn't been charged. He's not sitting in a jail. There's not video and pictures of him. So, I find it hard to believe that everybody else would have that. I can't tell you what his intentions might have been to be the ruler of Japan, the emperor of Japan one day, but I can tell you what he did and what he didn't do. Intentions are things in the mind, and thank God we don't get in trouble for things that we think. I don't care what his intentions were. I can tell you what his actions were and what his actions were not. So, yeah, you're right. I do not know his intentions, nor do I care. I don't know anybody's intentions. Okay, on with the City of Muncie meeting. There's enough there to rile me up, and we can move on. I'm not going to spend the whole night defending Brand. He can do that. This is not a Brand campaign. That happens at county council meetings.
Present.
Mason?
All right.
Here.
Comes this
Present.
nonsense.
McIntosh?
Present.
Green?
Present.
Powell?
Present.
Garrett?
Bowie, she just loves that she's sitting in the president's seat. And for those of you that don't understand what's going on, this is the Muncie City Council, but it's the Finance Committee. So she's the chair or president of the Finance Committee, which means she chairs the meeting. Okay, that's why that's going on.
Here.
Here. Present.
Yeah, she did.
One order of housekeeping.
Right off to that.
There will be no public comment taken this evening.
Because Nora Powell is a control freak who does not give a shit about the public. She's only concerned with power. She is out of control in almost all aspects of her government. I have applauded her efforts thus far against what Ridenhour's been doing, but the moment she puts herself at some higher authority than those people who employ her, it brings me right back to the moment of knowing why she should not be an elected official and why I must work hard to defeat her from being this or anything higher. The last 4 years, citizens have had a chance to speak during these budget meetings because her friend and fellow Democrat, Jeff Robinson, understood that the budget is made up of citizens' tax dollars. And to think that she has the right or the authority or the ability to say, nah, she wanted to have the meeting at 5:00, but people asked her to hold it later. She wanted to have it. She wants to have these behind closed doors. She wishes citizens couldn't come to these. She wishes there were only 3 people. She wishes she was the only one doing it. Okay. Again, no public comment. It's absolutely disgusting. This is insane. There's nothing wrong with having public comment at these. Listen to the bullshit excuse she gives.
At this working session, there have been 3 opportunities so far for
Oh, no. You mean you've allowed us 3 opportunities to speak? Well, aren't you special?
public comment at the previous meetings. There will be at least 2 more opportunities.
Oh, there will be 2 more? Well, imagine if you let us speak at all 3 of these. That would be a total of 5 more times. You are a representative of the people first and foremost. And if you are not willing to meet us where we are and are not willing to allow the public to meet you where they are, then you're out of line.
Opportunities for public comment. This is a working session, and out of respect for our department heads who are here after a long day of work.
I don't give a damn about that. Don't talk to me about that. Everybody sitting in there that's a citizen have had a long day of work. They had to come in, they didn't get a chance to run home and do something. They had to beat feet there from work because you held it at 5:15, which is just completely flipping ignorant. And these people are paid. They don't need to be department heads for the city of Muncie. They could go work a job where they check out 9 to 5.
This is part of their job description.
Yeah, right.
And they're paid on salary.
Yeah, right.
They can come for an hour and talk at a meeting.
Yep. Absolutely. And you know what? If they would have allowed citizens to speak, 3 people would have got up. 4 people would have got up. You can't tell me that you can't allow 12 more minutes to allow 4 people to speak, 3 people to speak. Totally ridiculous.
Especially Mr. Wright, who has to come to all these things. We were going to try and move through this meeting as quickly as possible while making.
I don't care about how quickly you're trying to move through. This is nuts. We've got the Delaware County Council that's trying to turn it into like a Mars mission. It's going to take 9 years to prepare the budget from now on. And she's like, we're trying to get through this in breakneck speeds.
Ensure that we address everything we need to address. So with that said, I will welcome the judge up.
Good evening.
Okay, so again, here, like I said, with Delaware County, the volume issues and the mic issues and the recording ability of both the city and the county meetings are just absolutely horrendous. I can't wait for you to hear the volume issues here in a minute. It's so insane. And the common denominator is Mark Slusher. I don't know what is going on, but they're gonna have to do away with Mark Slusher doing this shit. He's stopped caring. He doesn't pay attention. I don't know what he's doing, but it's insane.
Amanda Dunnick, Muncie City Court Judge.
Back down, Mike down.
You guys, I emailed to all the council members the budget I submitted to the administration and then what was advertised by the administration. And I'm fine with what the administration has advertised. The only problem that I have is that one of my employees is left off, and that's, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, I had started paying employees out of probation user fees to try to eliminate some burden on the tax dollar. And that was done with the understanding that we can only do it until we exhaust the funds in that fund. That occurred mid-year. So we've had to move everybody back into city general. And so on the form that I submitted, it didn't match up correctly. So the leaving of one of my...
All right, so this is the Muncie City Court judge, and she gets up here and basically everything is hunky-dory. They do nothing really. They don't cut anything. They don't say they're taking anything from her. And they speed through it really quickly. If you're interested, we've live streamed the meeting. The meeting is 1 hour, 15 minutes. You can go back and watch it. All right. We are going, I'm promising you, we are going to go over the budget and the budget numbers at a point. That's not what these videos are. We're gonna detail who they're going through. I'm gonna tell you what the important sections are. Then you can go back and watch the meeting. We will take you through the budget that they work out, and I'm gonna let you know where we are and what's happening. I will let you know that. But the one takeaway that I want to tell you and start planting the seed is, I am nearly certain that Nora is correct. Listen, you heard me go on that rant about Nora. I'm now going to praise Nora. See how I am? That's how I am. I tell it how it is. All right. When I like you, I like you. When I don't, I don't. It's just what it is. Nora is right, in my opinion, with what she's saying about the city of Muncie. We are headed for a very serious, scary first of the year within the city of Muncie as far as the city budget goes, because of Dan Ridenauer and Craig Wright and whatever the hell it is that they're doing.
Court secretary's off, I believe, is just an oversight.
Of course, your line item, we're going to start by Judge right up at the top. Your line item has increased.
Yes.
It's reflecting what percentage raise was that?
That I put into my line item. I talked to Craig. We put in the 5% that the elected officials did not get.
Okay. And so then increases through court secretary, probation officer, public defender.
Probation officer went up pursuant to state statute, and it's at the state minimum.
Okay.
The other line items, I'm not sure, Craig, how far 1%? Craig says 1% is up.
So they basically went up. When we look at the court, you'll see they went up. What Amanda is saying, Judge Dunnick is saying, they went up with the state guidelines with what's going on. The takeaway here is she is asked by the council, is there anything that if we needed to cut from your budget that we could cut and you would be okay with? I want you to hear what she says.
50,000. And what we've done is probation officer, I had a process and people get put on probation.
Then contractual services.
Concern is for people who are coming in from.
Have to bring somebody off the street.
Okay.
So that one was being paid for here. It doesn't matter to me, but if I
Council decides that they want to cut here and cut there, where would you cut? Where would it be the least, just in case this people start talking about cutting, where in your
degrees, he functions as a secretary until we need him to function as a bailiff.
What, if I may? So if the council decides that they want to cut here and cut there, where would you cut? Where would it be the least, just in case this people start talking about cutting, where in your department, where could you take the most cut and have the least impact?
So in all reality, I've submitted a bare bones budget. You can cut, I'm not talking about wages, but you can cut any line item I have here. It doesn't matter to me, but if I run out of interpreter money, I'm going to have to be back because it has to be provided.
Sure.
If, I have to provide pauper defense. The things that are in my budget, you can take, you can take the computers, you can take the office supplies, you can take all of that. I currently already buy the pens for my office
Yeah.
out of my own
I
pocket.
know, just like teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at
So
that point,
yeah.
it is pretty much bare bones. If you need to cut it, cut it. And if I don't need the money, you won't see me. But if I need it, I'm going to be in front of you.
So in your opinion, you provided us the best budget to serve the public.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Best
Now, I
serve
will
the
say-
public. I'm gonna add
Yes,
that in there.
yes.
Thank you.
And as soon as we get more money coming back into probation user fees, we can start moving some stuff over to that and offset the tax
This is
dollar
city
that way.
court, so
Appreciate
it's
you,
just
Judge.
me in
Thank you.
court. It is what
Any
it
other
is.
council, any other finance committee members have questions for Judge Dunick? Great. Thank you, Judge.
Okay,
Appreciate your
thank
time.
you.
Yeah, she's got to buy
All right, Mr.
pens.
Talby,
Oh, I'm sorry.
we are going to be discussing animal control, which is on page
All right,
16.
this is of
You
interest.
can see.
Animal control.
Welcome, sir. We'll just jump right in with some questions. First, welcome and congratulations on your job and all that good stuff.
Thank you.
This is Josh Talby. This was the man that ran against her for the council seat. He worked in the Delaware County Clerk's office. He was being groomed as the replacement for Rick Spangler. Everybody knew he was going to be the next elected clerk for Delaware County. Everybody was in love with him. He was an up and coming rising star in the Republican Party. He was in the Young Republicans. He wanted to be the Young Republican president. He went to the Young Republican president meeting where they were going to vote in December. And he went there. He was intoxicated. He did not win election to be the Young Republican president. And he got mad and started getting in a fist fight and tried to fight everybody there and needed to be removed. Because of that chaos and craziness, the Republicans stopped allowing the Young Republicans to meet at their headquarters. They had to meet someplace else outside of there. So it was just crazy. And it's all because of Josh Talby. Soon after that, Josh Talby got the wild hair up his ass to run for city council in District 2 against Nora. I knew he didn't have a shot in hell, but I backed him. I supported him. I tried to get him out there because I didn't want Nora to win. And he just was completely asleep at the wheel of the campaign bus. He never did anything. He didn't work. He wouldn't come on the show. He wouldn't do an interview. He wouldn't get out and knock door to door. And he didn't have the name recognition. In the county, he was the big boy county guy. He thought the county, Republican was going to take him. But as far as in the city election, nobody knew who he was. She easily walked over him to victory. Within 2 weeks of that election, there was some kind of falling out that happened in the clerk's office. And boom, bang, pow, he was out of the clerk's office. They didn't tell anybody he was out of the clerk's office. It just kind of poured out. We found out that he was then working in the auditor's office, and he was only in the auditor's office for maybe 6 weeks. He did a horrible job there. And then that's where he picks up. He left county politics for city politics. And anybody that's on the inside knows, even though they're all Republicans, the city Republicans and the county Republicans don't really play nicey with each other. So he basically left the county friends to the city friends. He took a job for Ridenhour. He thinks that's his chance. He's done in politics. He will not be the next clerk. If you can't beat a Democrat in District 2, which is mostly a Republican district, then you have no shot of running the whole county. So he's just unelectable. As animal shelter man, he is in over his head. It's just another piss poor hire by Dan. It is what it is. I'm not even sure he knows what a dog or a cat is. It just is what it is.
Thank you.
You can hear he's in over his head by how he answers these questions.
Good. All right. Obviously, I'm going to ask about the increase in wages. Do you know what percentage that was, sir?
Wages in terms of where?
What do
Let's
you
start with
mean
superintendent.
wages?
So we just
What is this? Like, are these dudes like a really bad like brother, like twins, or like twins raised by different families, before and after commercial? What's going on?
So we didn't increase any.
I'm gonna get this hairstyle
aside
when
from
I go in.
The increase that was given to the city.
Okay.
I didn't put any.
So it's
rate-
what the controller
Yes.
put in, built into the budget?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And that goes the same with all the positions then? Controller dictated the increase in wages?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Did you add, no, there it is. I was gonna say, did you add the dog tech, cat tech, office manager? Those are all wages. We go down to
Listen,
all those. Okay, food and litter.
Yes.
I'm not touching it.
food litter. I'm not touching it. Nora says to herself. Want me to tell you why she said that? Okay, she said that because in her last year on the council in 2019, when they were doing this budget thing, she had the brilliant idea to cut the animal shelters food and litter line item. It was only $2,000 a month. And she was like, okay, let's make it 0. Food and litter for the animal shelter. Let's make it 0. And she was nearly ran out of the city for that. You can't screw with dogs and cats. If you do, people will tar and feather you. Pitchfork, fire, the whole 9 yards. So I'm glad she can now joke about it, I guess.
Right now we're at roughly 350 animals, so there's not much we can do about food and litter costs right now.
Okay. Have you contacted Indy Humane about food donations and things along those lines?
Yes.
To
So
supplement, not to cut, just to supplement?
and we are back on. We get the deliveries. That was kind of a seamless transition
Thank you
initially
very
when I
much
got
for
it.
That will help out. Vehicle repairs, how are your vehicles?
Well, they're aging. We don't have anything newer than 10 years old.
Okay.
We've got, I think, about 160,000 miles on all the animal control vehicles. But those.
Dude, you need to be talking to the police department. They cycle through vehicles pretty quickly. Can we see if we can't get some of the old Popo cars? I mean, animal shelter is a division of public safety. You would think they could hook a brother up.
Those are daily driven.
Okay. And repairs to buildings went up over 100%. Do you have big repairs planned for 2025?
Yeah. So, and here let me get this.
Oh my God. Does he have shorts on?
This is my floor.
Wait a minute.
So I am planning to have.
Thank you. Sure thing.
So I am planning to.
There you go.
We've done some flooring. We did the laundry room and
Holy
the
crap.
kitchen.
Is that a uniform?
I have put in there, that's going to be the biggest raise you'll see. And I'm wanting to get those floors redone next year. So that's what that big increase there. Yeah, I've got 2 quotes. It's going to be about $27,000.
Things are so tight out at the animal shelter, it can't even get full pants.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely, sir.
Those quotes that you received for those flooring, are
We're going to move along here.
I was allotted $15K there. I've spent 22 on the AC unit since I've been there.
So he's talking about some building
You gotta feed
repair.
them, you gotta take care of them.
Yep.
They got serious building issues.
So I believe those are just my full-time. So I have 1 full-time dog tech and 1 full-time cat tech. It did double. We moved some monies around. I'm not sure if that's reflected in the numbers you guys are looking at, but that is not over budget. I work with
You moved
Greg
some other
to move
numbers
those.
around.
Yes.
Okay.
You've spent see that more than 100% so far.
And so we actually just this week moved money from the 411-527 up to, so that is within. We added 30,000 to
He's just saying words.
passed over year to year.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
I just look at salaries as a placeholder. We're asking employees. So
This
An increase, did you?
listen. This is the building commissioner. All right.
I just look at salaries as a placeholder. We're asking employees.
Next up is building commissioner
is
on
amazing.
page 9, Mr. Selvey. Welcome.
Good evening.
All right. Let us go through this really quickly. Not too quickly. Looking at salaries, what percentage of an increase did you?
I just look at salaries as a placeholder. We're asking employees. So they'll come out in the wash, do what it is.
Okay.
What was that percentage
What was
though?
the percentage?
3 or 4%. Nothing major.
Okay. And
He
then,
does not want to be here. But I don't mean like in a disrespect. Like he's so put off with all the bullshit. I am surprised he's still here. Honestly, I'm honestly surprised he's not quit.
hold on 1 second. Let me find the rest of this.
And the other,
Vehicles.
it's legal fees, postage at $10 a certified mailing. We often do some emergency work. We had to fill a basement in. That's about $2,000. It gives us the continuity to be responsive to the public. We also got in a pickle when Jerry Dishman came in and wanted to know why we weren't mowing yards because we couldn't hire anybody. Still having trouble with that, but we found a vendor to do it for $80 a yard, and we've done about 200 that way, and I intend to expand that a little bit instead of having to settle for subpar help part-time. Oh, and we bought a coffee maker too.
Okay. Unemployment spending over this year.
Yeah,
Is that gonna?
is what it is.
It is what it is. It's
Securing property so far, you've sent, according to this budget performance, you spent.
Well, I think if you look at everything, you'll find that it's underspent at this point. We haven't done this before for the new people. I tend to hold on to the money and defer expenses until the last quarter so that if anything does arise, it can be covered. I've got about $8,000-9,000 worth of plywood I'm going to buy at the end of the year. We don't board houses until we finish mowing.
Okay.
And that's why
And
that's
that, and
not.
that makes complete sense.
And
Let me ask,
the office supplies and things like that, I have to order 4 new computers because we're using ones that are 14 years old and they won't support
14
the
years
Windows
old,
upgrade.
man. That is absolutely insane to me. Somebody, I think it was Alva, said earlier in the meeting that no, Prairie Creek is at the very end. It's at the very, very end. We're going in order. The order for tonight's meeting, City Court, which we've already done, Animal Shelter, Building Commissioner, Human Rights, Police Department. That was supposed to be the end. However, when we got done with the police department, Nora said we needed to pull Prairie Creek from Friday and add it to the end of today's because Dustin just couldn't be there Friday. I imagine he has like a hot date or something. He did not want to be held over on Friday. Hell, he probably doesn't even come into work on Fridays, to be honest with you. So it is what it is. But Alva said when this was going on earlier in the meeting that he just kind of seems like an asshole. And I was like, nah, you just got to know him. I used to not like Steve, and he's really started to grow on me when I've learned that I think that he's really over, and I really seriously mean this, he's over all the bullshit. He's over Dan's bullshit. He's over the council's bullshit. you know, and he's over the public's bullshit. He works in an office where they've got to deal with citizens who don't do right. You know, he doesn't do, you know, they don't mow their yard, and they damage things and then leave rental properties and stuff. So he's not really a very fun office, and so it's just kind of over. And you know, I'm not going to get into it, but it's pretty famously known he's had some health issues, and he's doing well. He's done a pretty good job for the city. He honestly, I was not happy with his appointment, and this is one I will tell. Dan hired a pretty good hire in this position. He was married to Rose Selvey. They are divorced. They got divorced after. So Roe and Steve were part of Ridenhour's campaign. He won. Steve was named as building commissioner. Richard Ivey was a counselor. Richard Ivey got tapped in the next year to be the deputy mayor. The Republicans needed to fill Richard Ivey's spot, and they filled it with Rose Selvey. Rose Selvey and Steve Selvey were still married, and then sometime in that first term, they got divorced. So they are officially divorced, but they get along, they work well together, and, you know, that's about as personal as I'm going to get in with all that. He looks like a pissed off Harrison Ford. Yeah, a little bit. I can kind of see that. And he's just, you can just tell that he's like, look, bottom line, he doesn't come ask for money. You know, if they need something, I mean, you know, a lot of this is there's so much waste in the police and fire departments in some places, and there's so much gobble up. He said it, but it's kind of missed. He's like, we're AFSCME. He knows that he and the people in his office are like the redheaded stepchildren. All right. And so they're just in there to do a job, and he does it. He doesn't raise a fuss, and he just does what he needs to do.
Okay. So the items like the mowing equipment, those are things that have already been purchased that you're just waiting.
Yeah,
season.
We've got I'm satisfied with our fleet. Vehicles, mowing equipment, we're in pretty good shape. Don't need it, don't want it. But I would like to have that and other. It really helps.
What he means, and he's been the first person that's been honest. So he's got a large chunk of money in other services. And what he's essentially saying here is he spends all of his other money the way that it is scheduled, but he tries to hold on to money in other services till the fourth quarter. And then if he's got big things that he cannot get over, then he uses it there, which is wise. Basically, he's just saving his money. He's not doing anything illegal. I don't think that they should overpad it. I don't think they should get crazy, but as long as, you know, it's coming out to about zero by the end of the year, they're doing the right thing. And so far, he's done pretty well throughout his time as building commissioner.
Okay. Any other questions from the committee?
I have a question. You mentioned $2,000
This is
that you
insane.
fill in a basement. Does that mean you have your own backhoes, excavation equipment?
Nope. Had the street department do it.
Had the street department do it.
All right.
And they charged us.
Okay.
We had an open hole on Cherry and Memorial. We let it set too long, and it really concerned us that somebody was going to get hurt.
Okay. So another department charged you to do that with their
Yes. What? Are you kidding? They've got to. That's just how it works, bro.
equipment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the sanitary district charges us as well when we do cleanups. Pretty cutthroat in our line of business.
Pretty cutthroat in our line of business. Dude, I'm telling you, is drier than the Sahara.
You do the neighborhood cleanups?
Huh?
When you do the
No,
I was like,
when we go out to Tillotson, when we go out, we cleaned up Tillotson
Oh.
with the homeless messes and things like that. When they bring equipment out, they ought to get compensated for it.
Right.
all right. Anyone else?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right.
Have a
Great
good
job
evening.
on that budget.
I love it.
That was a good budget. Good job.
Miss Yvonne.
All right. Yvonne Thompson gets
We are
up.
on
Human rights.
Human rights, which is on page 11.
They speed right through this.
So
everything's normal. Nobody messes with Miss Yvonne. I love Miss Yvonne. She watches a lot. You know, she's a tough cookie. Do we agree on everything? No. Does she like everything I say? No. Am I going to agree with everything she says or does? No. But I love her to death, and she just is who she is. And, you know, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, she was up there for like literally 2 minutes. Then they kick into the police. All right, here we go.
You can have an opportunity to present any information that.
Listen to this.
And that begins on page 14.
We're almost done, folks.
Of your budget.
So listen, the police thought they were going to sit down here and they were just going to start talking. They were just going to, because they've always had a really good relationship with with Nora. Now, I want to say something that if I didn't say this last night, I want to be really clear with this. When Nora first came on in 2011, she was married to a Muncie fireman. So anything that the Muncie Fire Department wanted, she got. She was their darling, and she really worked and did whatever she could. As soon as she became the finance chair, it was bing, 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 bing. They got everything they wanted. Then she got a divorce from that fireman. And then it was like, no pun intended, scorched earth against the fire department. And she buddied up with the police department. She started being all, cozy with the police department, and they became her war team and yada, yada, da, 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 da. And so now she's given the police department everything they want. And she's like, screw the fire department. Then her stepson wants to be a city police officer. So that just ingratiates her more. And she's like real tight with Deegan, and they're doing it, doing what they're doing. And she's helping them with negotiations, and they're just bing, bing, bing. Police department's getting everything they want. It's great. Then she gets unelected and she just goes away for 4 years. She comes back right in time for her son to develop his, either a coke habit, or he had it a long time ago and he developed a getting caught habit. Either way, he gets caught and he's no longer on the police department, and bing, bang, pow. She's no longer in favor with the police department, and now she's buddy back up with the fire department. So it's crazy how she swings like a pendulum. It's kind of really weird, strange that happens. It's just very telling who she is, what she does. I will tell you, if you've noticed, there's a lot of people in the audience. If you've noticed, a lot more than what will normally be. Like Wednesday and Friday, there won't be half of this many people. The reason is because of the fact that they're going to have to cut some money from the police department, and the police are here to let her know we are not happy with you. And so they think they're going to come up to the podium and run the show, and she's like, listen what happens.
Okay, if I sit down here?
Absolutely.
Hazards of a broken ankle.
I feel you.
Good evening, council.
Good
evening. Traditionally, if you don't mind if I start for just a minute, in years past, I've always kind of get a couple key highlight points from the current year.
Can we start with what we have in the line items, and then you can have an opportunity to present any information that is not divulged when we do that?
Sure.
All right. So the police department is one of the departments in the administration that combines all the salaries together.
Correct.
And I'm just curious the rationale behind that.
Well, we made that change, I think 3 years ago now. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
We made that change about 3 years ago now. I think I'd have to go back and pull the reports. In previous budgetary processes, we had line items for several different positions: chief, assistant chief, captain, lieutenant, sergeants, investigators, patrol officers. Several lines in both the general fund and in the public safety fund. I met with the previous council. I know Mr. Dishman was on there, and I think Councilman Green was a part of that conversation when we did it. Within the year, the fluctuation of the operation of the department can change from time to time. The positions, there are things within the contract that affect individual impact.
Listen to what
When you
happens
start
here
moving
now.
personnel in between lines because the position changes, or if you move
Something insane starts happening with
one line is running out of
the
time
audio.
because, let's say I can use an example of a sergeant that goes from a 10-year rate of longevity to a 15-year rate of longevity. Now that's an increase. There was a lot of personnel shuffling that was going on. We have to submit a PI form up to the controller's office, and I think that once you start to get into that,
it starts to go crazy here.
From depending on the appropriation and what gets put forward, it could be anywhere
I'm going to
from
speed ahead to what the main part of what they talk about here.
To time that when you explained it to me that it was engagement and yes, the community, if you're out.
We've got some great employees there.
So, like, you can't hear the chief now that he's talking for whatever reason, even though he's talking directly into the microphone.
Thank you.
Spins the microphone back over
Chief,
Deegan's
capital
face.
equipment was moved out of general. Is that what I'm seeing for 2025? I don't see it in here.
So the police department's paid in a couple different ways. They've got a general fund. They've got several different ways that they're paid. And so that's what they're looking at, different things. And what I want you to notice is what they're asked. I think Nora asks them here in a minute.
The capital in the general.
Okay. There, I'm just curious as to what that is.
I don't see anybody to look for a budget and find any kind of expenditure that's inappropriate.
There we go.
You can go back there.
That's the fire department.
Nope, I am totally on the wrong page. Sorry about that.
I've done it too.
These are hard to look at.
Apologize.
I did too. I'm looking at your budget and I'm going to ask you this question publicly. Have you prepared the best budget to serve your public at your best as a police department?
Here's what I'll tell you is that we've gone through great lengths to correct the problems that we found when we came in. This would be me. I would challenge anybody to look for a budget and find any kind of expenditure that's inappropriate or not for the public or not for our people. I mean, our job is to do nothing but give our people absolutely every tool that we can to serve the public in the best shape.
Thank you.
So, I know your job is to be conservative, right? But I would say that any cut to this budget is going to be directly reflected in a reduction of services to the public.
Any cut to this budget. I mean, they're in
I have
the
a question, if I may.
Absolutely.
I noticed in your general fund line item for ammo and training, it's the same last year to this year. But all the products are going up in price. How did you do that?
Well, we like to keep our finger on the pulse of the market, honestly, and we do a good job of working with our vendors to find out where the price increases are going to come. We are very judicious on putting out ammo to our officers. I mean, they shoot more now than they ever have, and we've got quite a reserve. But we want to keep it that way to level out market fluctuations. So, as far as training, I mean, this money. To answer your question, the new training center that we've got, a lot of that has been built out with money like this because now we can train not only our agency, but other agencies from around the geographic area to include federal agencies. We can train our K-9, our SWAT, and put our people in vast conditions in training environments so that we get the best possible outcome on the street when they encounter the exact same scenario.
Okay.
So that money is critical for us.
I just was looking for an increase.
Well, that's great.
No, but I was shocked it was the same.
Yeah.
And I had expected an increase in that.
What is happening with the sound?
That surprised me.
Are they doing this on purpose?
Public funds and judicious with it.
We appreciate that.
Don't want to waste public
Okay. You haven't gone to reloading yourself, have you? Okay.
No, that would lead to several problems.
Yes, okay.
So I have a question though. Seeing that we are going to see a very tight beginning operating balance with the general fund.
That was Nora's question.
Potentially even in the red, given what we're spending this year. What would you be able to move from the general fund budget into your other revenue funds. Just, and I'm not, I don't, I mean, that's just something that I'm going to ask. You don't have to give a definite answer, but that is definitely something that we have to ask all the departments that have alternative sources of funding.
Yeah.
The general fund covers the entire administration, and a lot of those departments do not have an opportunity for other revenues. And so, especially as we're looking at the collective bargaining agreements being settled, as we're looking at the different.
What's
different
happening
moving
with
parts of both our
AFSCME?
public safety, which obviously they both need to be funded
Where
appropriately,
sound,
if not
what's going on with
more.
sound again?
But we have to look at the entire administration. And so if we were looking at deficits in the general fund and we had to offset some of that funding, would the police department be able to do some of that for us?
Listen, I'll be frank.
Okay.
And there's a reason. I would challenge everybody on this council to really step back and take a look. And I want to use a couple of agencies that are similar in comparison to us. Maybe not
It goes
necessarily
crazy.
whatever their tax base may be because of certain revenue streams. But I would challenge this council to reach out to councils from the city of Anderson and the city of Noblesville. And I spent a lot of time on the phone with administrators from other agencies to determine what their operating budgets were, to see where we kind of fell as far as, the general fund and the public safety tax fund. And we're surprisingly behind both of those. Anderson's a little smaller than us. Noblesville never experienced guys have to make sure that the whole city operates. However, we are operating on a bare bones budget as it is, and I think that
Bare
if we
bones
reach out to
budget.
the other councils,
Bare
other
bones budget.
municipalities that are our size, to find out just how far behind we are. If that answers your question. Probably not what you want to hear, but that's my take on it.
It's a start. Yes, sir.
He didn't answer. Excuse me, I was watching TV the other night and it had Indianapolis PD.
Sure.
And if you see all the stuff that goes on down there, I hope you guys never experienced that stuff down there the way they are. I mean, street.
The volume is so whacked out. I was like, who? I don't even know who this person is speaking. Listen.
Burn house. I know you're heavy down there in the cruise. And I appreciate that because I thought somebody was going to get killed down there.
Yeah.
I mean, I seen a guy going by on a trailer doing a buyout, sitting down on the trailer, which is crazy.
It's Dishman. What? Where is that microphone picking his voice up from? It can't be that one in front of him. They had to have inserted that microphone about down his throat and into the middle of his chest for it to be making the noise that it is making.
But I hope you guys never get put into much of that situation down there, shooting every night. A police officer getting hit out there.
Yeah, and I can touch.
I can't even listen to it, so we're just moving forward. Now, what is this light on the chief's head? What's this about now?
It is so critical that we, whatever your beliefs in politics is, it's here nor there for me. It's about public safety and operation of the And
this was such a shit show.
Yes, thank you. And I'd like to add to that under the guidance of Chief Stone here, and the city administration, and not just this council, but the previous council that sat here before. I had a really good working relationship with previous President Robinson. We worked on several projects together, and I think that collectively we need to figure out how to continue to do that. We won't come ask. We will not come ask you for additional new money unless we feel like it's absolutely necessary and we haven't exhausted every other opportunity that we have for us. The appropriations is one thing when we have the funds that we know that
Didn't they just come and ask for more money?
Yeah, they do it all the time. Between the police and the fire, they do it all the time. Yeah,
We won't come and ask for more money
except for when we come and ask for more money.
every year,
Yeah, all the time.
like clockwork, right
every
before
year, all
budget
the-
season.
Yes, right, and after. Yeah.
Access and utilize for means that we
is an advantageous negotiation, would you be able to offset that?
That's what I'm saying.
Not necessarily with salaries, because I understand that you don't want to put salaries and any type of personnel in that, but would, I mean, are there ways that you could help us help you? So that's just an idea.
I'm certainly not those that would mean any one of you or all of you to try to come up with a resolution. And that's the message that I delivered to the previous council, and I think I stuck true to my word. And I mean that for you all as well. But, with that means that, of course, sometimes there'll be some tough conversations, but I think collectively,
It's going to be a tough conversation.
there's three entities that we look at here. We look at administration, we look at city administration, and we look at city council, right? And if those three entities can't figure this out, right, that's our job. That's your job, that's my job,
Yeah.
that's Megan's job. So I challenge you all, I'm willing to help you if you're willing to help us, right? I have an open door policy.
And that's all I was trying to get
Right.
at. That's
We
it.
can't work together.
That's it.
Of course.
The public is, right?
Of course.
That's true. That's
Of
it.
course.
That's all I was.
You are your
Right.
public
Any other
leaders?
questions from the
Your public leaders? Interesting.
committee?
I just have a comment. I know public service, I mean, as a teacher, it's
What is going on?
very much.
God.
Yeah, that was one marked. Nope, we didn't mark that one. I threw a fast one on them all, so. No, you. That were provided by the controller to the controller's office. You have not, Person Selvey, and I don't know.
Okay.
Absolutely.
To amend the agenda
Hold on,
to add Prairie Creek Reservoir to the agenda for this evening.
So moved.
Here's Prairie Creek
Second.
Reservoir.
I have a motion by
I don't know, Tweety
Councilperson
Bird.
Selvey
I
and-
don't know. It's ridiculous.
One of these
And
days,
we'll
I'm gonna
give
be
the
off.
credit to Councilperson
I'm trying to
Green.
get that done. I'm trying to get
So
them to
now
do
we
that.
will add up Prairie Creek Reservoir to our,
First of all, they need to get rid of Mark Slusher. That's
to
the
finish
first
out
thing
the
they need to
evening
do.
for us.
So
Appreciate you,
they
Mr. Clark.
add Prairie Creek to tonight, and I want you to listen to the Green Goblin, how ridiculous he is.
And that is on page.
That we are starting at page 31.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a.
I didn't have that one marked.
Nope, we didn't mark that one. I threw a fast one on them all, so. No, you. You.
I can't stand.
Well, half my audience.
They're all going.
Good for you.
You. I'll let everybody-
She
has
loves
everybody
being
found
in
Prairie Creek
charge. man.
Reservoir?
Yes.
All right, so we will continue. You really have not, other than the increases in salaries that were provided by the controller to the controller's office, you have not, is that the 1% then?
Correct.
Okay. And then, let's see.
Well, he's
I
got 18
don't
other
know.
contracts with the city, so he doesn't really need
Yeah.
a huge pay raise from this one.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Wait till you hear what happens here.
Yeah.
Yep. So we've actually reduced our budget.
Yes, I saw that.
Yep. So that's probably the first thing.
Look, all the police left. Like everybody poured out. That's amazing. Now you'll see like 2 people there for the remainder of these meetings.
There is a cute little cheat sheet right here. It's got some basic information. We'll do the numbers first, and then I'll tell you a little bit about why we are different. So again, thank you for letting me be here. And thank you for accommodating. Friday wasn't
Thank
going to
you
work.
for
But
working
yep.
with
So
us.
Tuesday.
I'm not going to be here Friday. I mean, he seems like kind of like a younger Basham. Like everything that he says is almost sing-songy.
Tuesday's going to work great.
We are working together here. Okay, so your telephone went down, your rental equipment, did that go down? Or did
Everything
That one
went
went up.
down.
Tuesday.
Well, Cozell, wasn't there for 3 months.
It's Prairie Creek Reservoir.
Nothing was happening.
Page
31, 32. And about
Um,
halfway down the page.
Right.
Yep.
And then other services and charges also.
Yep.
went-
Rental equipment went up by about 5,000
I
so
saw
dollars.
that.
Yep.
And then Other services and charges, actually, that one didn't go up by much. So what is the plan then? And how can you help all the other departments to decrease their budgets?
Oh, God.
So
You're scheduled for an in-service next week now.
yeah, I was going to say,
Jesus.
to answer that, I'll jump towards the end.
Okay.
We are not part of the general fund. We don't
Correct.
receive tax dollars. So we are a self-funded.
I hate when this guy says this, and I'm so glad that Nora finally busts this man out. He's right. I'm gonna take you back here real quick. Okay, listen. Okay.
So what is the plan then? And how can you help all the other departments to
I
decrease
can't
their
believe I went
budgets?
that far back. God, that makes me
So
You're scheduled for an in-service next week now.
yeah, I was going to say, to answer that, I'll jump towards the end.
Okay.
We are not part of the general fund.
Correct. They are not part of the general fund. That statement is correct. Prairie Creek Reservoir is not paid like most other departments through the general fund. That's not how they do it. They do it through their own revenue that they get out of dock rental and boat launches and all of that stuff. Okay. But this next comment he makes is not accurate.
We don't
Correct.
receive tax dollars.
We don't receive tax dollars. That is incorrect. They do receive tax dollars. It's not the same. It's not as much as everyone else, but they do receive them. And Nora sets him correct. They are self-funded like 80, 90%, but they do get some tax dollars. And I'm glad she sets him straight.
So we are a self-funded. So we run primarily as a business. So our revenue that you see here does not come from tax dollars.
It actually does. It comes from tax dollars, which go into Fund 220.
No. So our,
No. I mean, like, listen, he wasn't like, oh, what? Really? Are you sure? He's like, I mean, oh, God. Like, he deserves a punchy. Anyways, go ahead.
our revenue is derived mainly from our campground revenue and our dock launches, our thing.
Correct.
Our revenue doesn't come from the general fund.
It
Correct.
does not come from the general fund.
Correct.
It does come from tax dollars.
Yes.
Comes
That's
from
okay.
people spending money.
Well,
It also comes from that.
Yes.
You do receive tax dollars.
Yes.
But please continue.
Sure. Yep. So
we'll come back to that here in a moment because he's not going to let that go. I can promise you that. But he's ran up against another just kind of absolute disgusting force in Nora, who also will not let it go.
we'll discuss that. So we're 2,200 acres, 15 miles of coastlines. We'll skip all the fun stuff, but we did reduce. So we asked for essentially the same budget as 2024, except with some reductions and some increases.
That's my favorite line of the entire night. We did ask for this. I'm going to say it like he does. We basically asked for the same budget as 2024, except for some increases and some decreases. That's like everybody, every single person that has got up and every single person that will get up after you are all going to be doing that same thing. Basically what we got last year, but there will be some increases and some decreases. No shit, Sherlock.
Well, yeah, because you have to have a starting point to go off of. So
Yeah,
you use
right.
Previous year's budget, see where you were at. Well, this one had too much money in the line item. This one we had to come back and ask if we could switch money to this line item. So we better increase this one, decrease that one.
Yeah.
You're a dumbass. He's a dumbass.
Yeah, right. So stupid. So Tweety Bird, the discussion as far as what he's talking about, because basically it didn't really pertain to whatever. And look, there's nothing wrong with the department heads talking one-on-one with a counselor or whatever. I don't have a problem with that. I do want them to take care of I do want them to take I want her to correct that because, well, you'll see why. You'll see it doesn't get corrected on the record.
24 expenses, about $938,000, 768.24, and we plan on reducing that to about $855,000. That's about an $83,000 savings. How do you do that? Well, so over the last couple of years, we have embarked on a capital improvement project. So for the longest time, for generations, we have had old wooden docks. Those wooden docks are being phased out. We are about 2/3 done with the project now. So we are starting to see return on our investment. That project is still going to go on probably for one more phase. We had hoped to maybe wrap it up this year, but it looks like we're probably going to have to drag it out one more year. But that decreases our labor, that decreases our maintenance, that decreases our cost facility literally throughout the year. From we start shipping ice to put in docks at the beginning of the year, and we are struggling to get them all out by the end of the year. So that is a large portion of where our savings comes from. The other area is there's 2 sections that we do differently now than we hadn't done in the past. So we are dealing with erosion control, not with a product called riprap, which is large rock along the shoreline. We're dealing it with kind of an organic, we're using a root control. So we're allowing plants to grow up close to the shoreline, and those roots are stabilizing the bank. So when you have 15 miles of coastline, riprap adds up to a lot of money. We're not using that method nearly as much as we used to. And then we are converting unused areas that were mowed golf course style to prairie grass. So prior to year before last, we were called Prairie Creek Reservoir and had 0% prairie. Our goal is to get 1% prairie, but that 1% prairie is a significant savings when you talk about a Ferris mower
just doesn't want to mow it.
Somebody riding on it.
I don't want to mow.
$15 an hour.
That's what my mom does. I don't
basically
want to mow that much
8
lawn. I'm
hours a
going
day,
to plant a
5
bunch
days.
of garden.
So it's a significant savings. So that's where you're going to see the majority of the savings. Also, our revenues are up. Our expenses are also up. There was a mistake. We had an error where some monies were taken from a large capital project. The docks that we purchased,
mistake.
$100 and some odd thousand was taken out of 2 different line items, and I wrote them down.
No way.
44081 capital equipment and 43071 other services.
Money.
Really overshooting those. We have that money. The money was in different locations. It was held through a cash account and then through grants and then through our revenue. So we have the money to offset that. We still, unlike other departments, we preload expenses throughout the year, but it's not till the end of the year where we still receive revenues. So we don't get winter revenue until after October 31st. So we are still expecting $75,298 at minimum, almost guaranteed money to come in.
And so, and I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Looking at the budget performance report.
How nice of him to let the woman running the meeting talk.
The other department up here earlier that said that they kind of hold expenses and then turn them in, because I'm seeing that you've only spent 4% of your park security. Meanwhile, you've spent, 202% of your overtime line item. You've zeroed out several, the 23% of employee uniforms, 0% of unemployment, 0% of office supplies. It's kind of absolutely one way or the other. It's over 100%.
Isn't that crazy? Listen to what she's saying.
So
that's odd.
How you're doing that?
Sure. It depends on what individual line item. Some line items are an immediate repair. So we had a well go down. So well is not an expense that I can defer towards the end of the year. We would like to do as many functions and repairs and layouts at the end of the year or at the extreme beginning of the year before the season ends. So we want to do our stuff after October 31st or before May 1st. We try to stay out of the middle of the year, but we incur expenses throughout that entire time. That basically 6 months window, we keep collecting bills, but we don't receive revenue till the end. So we had a well go down. I can't defer that. That well has to be open to the public for potable water. So potable, a $35,000 repair that we had to pull out of different line items. we didn't expect an entire well to quit working on us.
Great.
I just wanted you to hear that main part. That was the big
Is there any
thing. We have some line items that we've spent hardly nothing from. We have some line items that we've spent everything in. How does that happen? Well, we do, we got some of this. He doesn't know what he's doing out there. They're just spending money. They're just doing things. You heard him say that they did a big thing where they did a whoopsie. We spent money out of 2 accounts where we shouldn't have, and we had to transfer money back. He doesn't know what he's doing, man. They're just out there running loosey-goosey, doing whatever they can, and trying to hope that they'll survive by the skin of their teeth. And the state, the Department of Accounts, what am I trying to say?
State Board of Accounts?
State Board of Accounts won't bust their ass out. That's what he's hoping.
Well, I'm also hearing we have money coming in after the budget period ends, and after these meetings,
Yeah.
we're still going to have money coming in. And so I can shove that somewhere and hide it.
Yeah.
I don't trust this guy any further than I can throw him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So him talking about that period of time scares me.
Yes. And yes, Jackie, you're correct. He needs training in accounting procedures, his office staff, his bookkeeping. They all need it. Really, I'll be perfectly honest with you. We need to get rid of him. We need someone better there. They should have got rid of him when he was off for all that time and did all that crazy shit. Dan doesn't like doing that. He's afraid of people because Dustin's been his right-hand man. So if he pisses Dustin off, Dustin knows where the bodies are buried. So he can't do that for him. All right, we're going to finish up because I want to let you hear what's said right here, and then I want to correct the record, and I'm going to help that situation.
Questions?
Did you have to, was it a new pump or did you have to re-drill the well?
So we didn't have to re-drill the well. We did have to contract Pridemark. We had to build a new well house. We had to get a new pressure pump. We had to get a new main pump, and they had to, I feel like they had to replace the first section of pipe.
I bet they did.
Yep. And that was all for Indian Hill Campground. So that's
I have a question for you then. So what is the percentage of revenue versus tax dollars?
What?
So it's
look at how condescending he is. It seems like we're not all speaking the same language because I'm a genius and you're all dumbasses.
Seems like we are not speaking the same language.
Yeah, that's correct there, buddy boy.
Don't receive tax dollars.
You do receive tax dollars.
So all of our money comes from money that we generate from selling daily launches, selling seasonal campsites.
Not all of it, most of it, a lot of it, but you still do receive some.
I have our revenue. So our revenue to date is from collected rents, annual storage fees, annual launches, non-motorized, horseback permits. I have a list of, I would say half a dozen items right here. So
listen to what he just did there. The body's under Indian Hill. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true, Jackie. Listen to what he just did there. He's trying to give a figure, like just a ballpark number. We probably got 60. No, not 60. It's probably like half a dozen. Listen to me. If y'all know what half a dozen is? Half a dozen is 6 or 6.5, I guess. Man, whatever. Anyways, we'll just throw him a bone and say 6. If you're so confused that you think that 6 lines or 6 items or 6 something on a page looks like 60. He literally said 60, and he's like, oh no, well, not 60, probably like half a dozen. 6 does not look. I say stupid shit like that all the time. I could never confuse 6 and 60. That's insane. No wonder we're having such problems.
All in all, our revenue, none of it comes from taxes, is $871,518.88, and that was pulled 2 days ago.
Okay, that's your revenue, but
Yep.
nothing
That's the revenue.
at all is paid for by.
Correct. So
and listen how he's just so sure of himself when he says correct. Nora's going to school him, kind of. We'll get to hear some of it, but not all of it, and I will correct it here in a minute.
So in the history books of this,
That's only revenue that you're speaking of.
That's the miscellaneous revenue that you collect from your different fees and things along those lines. However, you do get property taxes. You do not get general fund dollars. You are correct there, but you do get property tax dollars that go into your fund.
would somebody show me where those property tax dollars are? Help me understand, because I'm misunderstanding.
Let's see.
While you're looking for that, I'm going to ask another one.
Sure, go ahead.
The docks, what were most of those paid with this year?
So cash account. So any money that we return at the end of the year, we collect until we can basically do a large capital project. So that has been a big portion of it. The mayor's edit funds is going to help us a little bit with our next year's
listen to that.
capital project. So that's.
Was there any art money used for that?
Yes.
How much was
I don't have the exact number. I'm going to
ARP
say
money.
$450,000.
They got ARP money, but they don't get any tax revenue.
My budget doesn't have a Form 2, so I can't show you the general, but I will get it.
Yep. And I can stay after and we can, yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's fine. That's fine.
We don't get any tax money, but we got a whole bunch of ARP money. What the fuck does he think that is?
Yeah.
That is tax money.
It should be with your ordinance. I just don't have mine with me. I only brought Form 1s. But yes, so anyway. All right, are there any other questions for Mr. Clark?
Okay. So, and I want to tell, and I'm glad that Jackie's here. I misspoke when I spoke to you earlier, Jackie. What I had was the miscellaneous funds. So I've already emailed and asked for that form too. I thought I had it. I do not. I've reached out to Councilor Powell and I asked for her to send it to me. As soon as I get it, I will tell you. Tomorrow when we come back on, you better, well, as long as they email me in time, I'll reach out to Dan Gibson and I'll get it. I will have it by the time we come on tomorrow. She's right. She is 100% right. She is 100% correct. You're right, Space Cat. I don't understand it because I'm not a genius like he is. Unfortunately, these people keep making Nora right. He is wrong. They get tax dollars, and she'll send me the form. I'll show you guys when we come on tomorrow. I hope that she set him correct, but she is right, and it is on the budget form too. It's just one of the forms I don't have, but he does get money from property tax, so he's wrong. He is right. It doesn't come from the general fund. It's not the biggest part of their money, but it is some.
No, I don't know.
Anyone else?
No.
Councilperson Green?
I do,
see-
but
look,
it doesn't pertain to the budget, but it does pertain to making more prairie. And what
I will stay after.
And well, yes, I don't want to put that on the record. I
No,
want to
you're
ask
fine.
that.
And I can be here to answer questions, and you guys all have a little packet in front of you, kind of highlights of what we did this year and how kind of some challenges that we ran into that we hope to address next year.
Like I wasn't there for 3 months because I was part of an investigation.
I'll stay around after.
Thank you. All right. If there are no other questions from the committee for this final department head, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There is the first finance committee meeting in the bag, and I'm pissed off because they didn't take public comment. I'm pissed off because of the sound. I'm very interested in how the counselors continue to ask all of them, let us know what we can cut from you. And everyone's like, yeah, you can't cut anything from me. Nora is right. They are going to have to cut money, and it's coming. There's going to be some really unhappy people at the end of these budget meetings. I can't wait to see what the final total is, and we will go over that with you. You will hear it here and see it all here before it's presented in a meeting, before anyone gets a chance to talk about it. We will have it all here for you to see. And that probably won't be until next week, but we will have it. Go on.
If the department heads were smart,
Mm-hmm.
they would get up there and they would ask that question. They would say, here's where you can cut.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the council's going to say, we have to cut. You didn't tell us where we could. This is gone.
Yeah. The police department really needs to figure this out, and they need to find something for them to cut.
Yeah.
Or they're going to cut where they cut, and the police department are not going to like it.
No.
GW, this is
they
right.
were smart.
Financial crisis looming. Yeah. You're right. You're right, Kate. That's exactly correct.
If the department heads were smart, they would find somewhere to cut where they could tolerate it at least. Otherwise, their butts are going to hurt.
Yeah. That's exactly correct. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that's meeting number 1. I do want to let you guys know, just so you have an understanding of what goes on, where we go from here. That means tomorrow, Wednesday, the 25th, we have the Board of Works at 9 a.m. Of course, we will go over the Board of Works right at the beginning of tomorrow's 9 p.m. meeting. So we have the Board of Works tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We will not live stream it here. It'll just be on the city's page. Then at 5:15, we will have the second budget meeting at 5:15 p.m. We have that. And then at 9 p.m., we will be right here live for episode 293. And you better bet your butt it's going to be another big show. We won't go as long tomorrow because all we will have is the city Board of Works and then the city's finance committee meeting. So it'll only be about an hour and 35 minutes tomorrow. So it won't be nearly as long. Definitely tune in. And then remember, Thursday's show, ladies and gentlemen, Thursday's show is going to be a biggie. You won't want to miss that. And then Friday is the third meeting. Remember, here is the second thumbnail for tomorrow's meeting. Here is the agenda: mayor, Board of Works, controller, data processing, personnel, fire department. Fire department's going to be a big one. Mayor's going to be a big one. Controller's going to be a big one. Personnel's going to be a big one. So this is going to be a big meeting tomorrow. We're going to have a big breakdown tomorrow evening. And then, of course, Friday, that's the thumbnail. And Friday, you've got city clerk, street department, parks department, and Beech Grove Cemetery. And then finally, I need to ask her where everything else is. Where's communications? Where's IT? Where's community development? What the hell is
human
going on
resources, Christopher?
Right here. Personnel.
No. It's human resources. You know, we have to sign it that way.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
There is no personnel. There is only human resources.
Only human resources. That's hilarious. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for hanging in there. I love you. You guys are wonderful. Great discussion tonight. Thank you. Please do us a favor and click that like and all of that shit before you leave. Share this with your people in Muncie. They need to see this stuff. It's important, folks. That's one of the biggest ways to help out. Share the show with people that you know. Good night. God bless. We will see you tomorrow. Peace. Thank you.